Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Checkered Flag E streaming. It's Saturday night, and that means it's only one thing. It's time for the Lucas Oil's Australian Outlaws series. It is the Aussie Outlaws here on Checkered Flag E streaming for round number 7 of the championship at Richmond tonight. I am, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with the up here in the booth, joined alongside by the ever awesome man himself. It's Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back on air after a little bit of a hiatus for the last 2 weeks. But yeah, some great racing was had last week at Coda. So we'll definitely looking forward to tonight race out there.
Absolutely, onto the twisty stuff, but it's back onto the ovals now. Although road racing experience can come in handy here at Richmond, it is two very, very tight hairpins through the corners. We're looking at 23-degree track temperature, 22-degree air temperature tonight here as we head into the evening gloom for 400 laps here at Richmond. This 1 mile circuit is going to deliver us some awesome action tonight. What 1 mile is it? It's maths. Brain's gone dead there. This track will deliver us some really good action as always. The tri-oval section can often bring people to bring them some trouble. So grid is lining up, and taking pole position tonight is Carl Needler, next to the Godfather himself, the peddler of the 53, Edward Foster. Scott Lefevre is next with Tom Williams. On road number 3, we have Stevie Dubb and Chris Purnell back out in the car. Row number 4 is Jamie Nankervis and Norman Pluck making it a valve lockout. Row number 5, we have Wayne Van Billion and Luke Yeager. It's Jared Williams and Brett Campbell on row number 6. Tristan Koch and Justin Allen make up our 7th row tonight. It's Mark Smith and Mr. Matty Ray on the 8th row. And rounding us out tonight is our American driver, Derek Jacobs, with Mr. Noddy Tompkins, lining out the grid on row number 9. So, Mark, who are you expecting to do well here tonight at Richmond?
Well, Mr. Foster's going to do well if he's out there having a race tonight. But don't count out Chris Purnell. We've seen him have a good run over on the Ants Car Truck Series on Thursday night. And Scott Lefevre, last week's race winner from Coda, he's really starting to get the hang of these oval things. A little bit of a smaller field tonight, but that means the 400 laps we may not see a great deal of cautions, but it's going to be a long race for these guys.
Absolutely, it's going to be a endurance race out there, keeping yourself in the right position, keeping your car clean. Do not discount the man on pole, Carl Needler, in the VSK entry. He has been incredibly quick the last couple of races. Just had a couple of misfortunate moments, just running a little bit wide here and there, making a couple of small mistakes, catching him out. But if he can get that car absolutely perfectly placed, he could be in the winning spot tonight. We know they've got some good setups in that team, so watch out for that one. Well, we are getting ready for the race. We will go around one more time behind the pace car as they warm up the tyres, warm up the brakes, warm up the engine, and warm up their steering wheels as well, getting ready for 400 laps of Richmond. And, well, really can be tricky. It's one of those places that can really catch you out easily. A lot of braking involved, a little bit of trail braking you need. You need to just get the car settled, planted into the corners. But the exit is so crucial. Not putting your foot down too hard, that can be really dangerous.
Yeah, that's right. Look for the road race specialists to come to the forefront here tonight. Some heavy braking applications. And just as you said, Carl, nice and easy out of the turns. But the lights are out, lights are pace cars in, and I'll hand it over to you.
And we get ready to go green, and we do go green for this round 7 of the Lucas Oil's 2024 Aussie Outlaws series, and Carl Needler gets away beautifully at the start. I'm going to shut up so we can enjoy these cars for a lap or two. And it's Needler in the lead, still ahead of Foster and Tom Williams. Chris Purnell moving up through the field with Stevie Dubb, two absolute veterans of Australian Oval Racing Series, racing on track at the moment. Valve versus DPR, a very interesting little battle that's going to be going on there, I'm sure. Everybody spreading out nicely, everybody getting away cleanly as well. Nobody clipping the wall as of yet. Everybody keeping the car in the right place at the right time in these early stages. And that is crucial. You want to make sure you get the car settled in the early runnings of the race. Big mover so far is Mark Smith, up 6 positions. He's absolutely flying through the field at the moment, moving up into 9th position. Absolute lightning start from Mark Smith there, moving up into 8th position now, up 7 spots. Really doing well. The car on trouble though is Tom Williams, just dropping back a little bit. Just had a little bit of a moment on entry. Just got slightly out of sorts. Had a little tap from Luke Yeager, I think. Just unsettled the car. Little bit of a bump and run there, which is a crucial skill on a short track. And it has paid off well for Yeager. Williams just struggling a little bit, but he had managed to get back past that car. Yeah, I mean, he's even been up in the commentary booth this season. That's how rusty he is in the car. He's had to commentate. But no, it's good to see him back out on track. Will absolutely be saving at the moment as Stevie Dubb makes a run down the inside of Carl Needle there and moves himself up into the lead. What I'd say is watch out for Foster in the latter stages of this stint. He's just going easy at the moment. He's building up temperature slowly but surely. He's getting those tyres into a good operation range. Not going too hard, too fast. Absolutely, just getting an even heat soak into the tyres, not building up the temperature too quickly, because if you jump the temperature up too fast, you can end up damaging the tyre and causing yourself a little bit of problems laterally in a stint. So you want to build it up sort of slowly. You don't want to go too hard too quickly. You don't want to lock up wheels, lock up tyres. You don't want to spin them up too much. You just want them to build up nice and steadily to a nice even temperature, and then they will wear a little bit slower as well. They'll wear a little bit more evenly, and you'll just find they don't overheat as quickly as well. So just gives you a good race pace in that respect. Mark Smith moving his way up and making a move on Luke Yeager now, up into 6th position. The 07 is absolutely flying through the field tonight. That Lucas Oil's car is really looking well set up, especially in a short run pace.
Yeah, definitely right, mate. It's they do put a lot of work into the cars. Same with the Valve esports teams. You know, they really do put some effort in. They were up late last night. I think I climbed into bed at around midnight, and they were still out on track practice today. Unfortunately, Paul Drady's not out there tonight, so I don't know where he's disappeared to.
He's off partying, I'll say. I'm going to go with that one. He's out painting the town red.
I do think he had something on at the shop tonight. the out the sorry outlaw slot cars had such a one, so maybe they were just out there still doing that tonight.
Work commitments, always a tricky thing. But Mark Smith doing a great job of representing the team at the moment and carrying that team proudly forwards up into P7. Tom Williams having a good run still, just in 6th position. Sort of keeping that car nice and steady. It's had a couple of little moments here and there, but it's keeping going nicely. Up the front, it's Stevie Dub in the lead, building up about half a second over Carl Needler. Needler still keeping Foster behind him, importantly. So Needler doing a good job at the moment and showing he's got good pace in this stage of the race too. We're 18 laps in, 19 laps now. This is where tyres can start to drop off a little bit. This is where setup is key. And the teams that have absolutely nailed that setup will start to make their way forwards now. You'll start to see some bigger gaps appearing, and you'll start to see those cars with really good setups coming along nicely. So up in front, it's Stevie Dub, Carl Needler and Edward Foster. Chris Purnell and Wayne Van Billion are top 5 at the moment. Up 4 positions for Van Billion and Stevie Dub. Mark Smith moving up ahead of Luke Yeager now, making it 8 positions in this race. Some big gainers, some big movers and shakers so far.
Yeah, right, Carl. Some good moves. It's good to see our Kiwi contingent out there again tonight. With Wayne Van Billion and the likes. So it's good to see those guys out there. Our own American driver, Derek Jacobs, sitting at the moment down at 16th. Look for him to come further forward as this race goes on.
We'll see how that one goes, and just seeing on the chat, you might need to turn yourself up a tiny bit, Mark, because you're a little bit quiet.
I think that might be it. Abigail, let us know if you can.
Hopefully all fixed. Hopefully there. You know, it's the trouble. You're such a softly spoken man, Mark. I mean, we have to prod you to make you talk louder. It's such a tricky thing to do. Obviously, we need to recharge the cattle prod there and just increase the volume a little bit. Some great racing going on between Smith and Yeager at the moment. These two are battling it out on track, side by side. Smith had an advantage, and we got a caution out. And it's one of the Valve cars pointing in the wrong direction, and it's Jared Williams who has taken a spin in the 96 after coming out of turn 4 and just getting on the power a little bit too soon. This is what I was talking about before, so watch the back end of that car. He's just going to get on the power a little bit too soon, steps out and spins him around. He overcorrects it, and that is a typical road racer spin around there. He's gone to correct it rather than just steering into it, and it's just snapped on him. It's a big thing with these cars. You just sort of can't quite treat them like a road car. You're sort of a GT car or anything like that. They're a very different beast in a slide. You sort of just have to keep the steering in one direction, or just let it go straight, and it will tend to correct itself in that situation. If you try and overcorrect it, it will spin like that. No harm, no foul, no damage to those guys, but we have got a whole heap of cars in pit lane. Pretty much the whole field, other than Stevie Dub, coming into the lane. Are they going to take tyres here? That's the big question, or is it just fuel? I'd say tyres are going to go on for all of these cars. Who's going to just take 2? Who's going to take 4 sets of tyres? That's going to be the big question. Needler taking just the... Needler not taking tyres, so taking fuel only. Same as Chris Purnell. Foster took some tyres. Everybody... so Nankervis, Clark, Campbell, Lefebvre, and Needler did not take tyres by the looks of it, but everybody else has taken a fresh set of boots. So this is going to really shake things up.
Now, Stevie Dub has stayed out, so he's stayed out on the starting set of tyres. Jarrett Williams is now in pit lane. Not sure if he got the lucky dog or not. Don't think he did. I think he may have came in the pit lane before he was given that lucky dog, Carl.
Well, he caused the caution, so he wouldn't have got it in the first place.
That's right. He did too, didn't he? Oh, it's been a long day.
No, so he's had to come in and get some fresh tyres on that due to the spin there, I'd say. Just getting some fresh set of boots on just to keep him moving in the right direction and make sure there was not too much damage in that car. So, first caution of the night, and we have now got a whole split of different strategies. We've got cars that are on the same tyres as they started on, cars that are on fresh tyres. That is going to really show through the field. We've got 8 sets of tyres here tonight, so 7 sets you can change onto. And this could be a big advantage if we go green from now on for those guys that have put some fresh boots on.
Yeah, definitely an advantage taking some tyres and some fuel now. We've got a range of around 120 laps on for fuel, but only 75 laps for tyres, so the tyres do wear out. But we will be going under lights, so that may change just that ever so slightly. So we'll just have to wait and see how we go.
Yeah, that can really change things up as the weather conditions change, as the track temperature drops. That's really going to help the tyres, and that will just make it a little bit easier. Pace car is going to be pulling in this time round, and we're going to be going back to green flag racing here at Richmond. It's going to be Stevie Dub leading away with Carl Needler on the outside. Remember, all these cars down to Edward Foster on the starting set of tyres. We've seen a fair few come into the lane to get a little bit of fuel, but Foster is the one to watch out for. Foster and Van Billion. As we get to the restart zone, and away goes Stevie Dub, getting away like a whippet with a bum full of dynamite, absolutely nailing that restart.
Yeah, definitely got a great jump there on that start. So see if he can keep hold of it. Remembering though, Carl, he does have slightly less fuel in the car, so he would be car would be a little bit lighter.
Yeah, he's going to want to just build up a bit of a gap here and get it out ahead of those ones charging on fresh tyres. If he can build up a nice gap as Foster, say, gets through the field, has to wear out those tyres a little bit quicker, he might be able to hold him back. But it's going to be a tricky battle once those fresh tyres start to catch up to him, and they could really spoil his plans. Or we could see another caution happening very soon, and those guys that did not come in for tyres may dart in for a fresh set and be absolutely golden. It's always a tricky risk coming in for tyres in the early stages of a race. It's either going to pay off or it's not. We saw that on Thursday night with Dave Douglas towards the end of the race. He decided to choose some fresh tyres while everybody else stayed out there. And big difference maker that one was, but it could have all gone horribly wrong if the cars fell in a different way.
Yeah, definitely right, Carl. We've seen him take the chance. I'm just wondering how many guys will take that chance tonight here for a round win and secure themselves into the playoffs at the end of the season.
It's not called a gamble for nothing. It's either going to work or it's not, but it sometimes can work off brilliantly if it plays out in your favour. So, up the front, Stevie Dub setting some good pace. 22.2 for the last lap. Edward Foster, 22.0. Fresh tyres absolutely helping him get a little bit more speed in this early stage. He'll also have that crucial information of how his tyres were wearing in that early stage. So will everybody else. The only driver that won't really know how his tyres are going is Stevie Dub out front. He's not been in the lane. He won't know how much wear he's got on his tyres yet. And that can sometimes come into play because you might be driving a little bit too cautiously, not burning off the tyre as much as you possibly could, or you could be going the opposite direction and just putting a bit too much strain in those tyres, not realising it, and find yourself in trouble latterly in the stint. That's always one of the good points of coming in for some fresh tyres, is gives you crucial information for how the race will run. Of course, they've all done some practicing, they'll have worked out what they needed to there, but the race sometimes throws a different sort of style of wear to you. It can really catch you out sometimes.
Yeah, definitely right. And just looking back down in the field a little bit, we've got Matty Raymond back down in 12th place. Good to see him back out there having a run tonight. He's found himself a new job, and unfortunately he can only make every second week. So good to see him back out there having a run. Noddy Tompkins also out there having a nice little run tonight in that red and black car.
Absolutely, and if you want to meet Matty Ray in the Adelaide region, just make sure to put some diesel in your petrol car or petrol in your diesel car, and you may get the opportunity to meet him in his new role. Just for the minor cost of, ruining a car. But up front, Stevie Dubb is running the right fuel at the moment. He's still setting some good pace, but Needler's coming back at him now and closing that gap. And then we have Edward Foster coming up quickly as well. They are very much closing in on each other here. And, well, you've got to say, looking good at the moment for Foster. If this goes green, he could be in a fantastic position.
Yeah, definitely right. And Foster now back up in the third position behind Needler. As we touched on, Ed's taking on a new role in his own personal world too. So with work, so it's good to see him get out and have a good run. If we get a chance, we might have a chat with him. He did say that he's happy to come up and have a chat over the radio once the fuel pit stops have been done. So we might try and get a little bit of a chat in there with him, Carl.
Absolutely. But at the moment, I'd say he is in focus mode as he is closing that gap, and he is hoping that he does not see a yellow flag in his near future, because that could be his little gamble over with. Just looking at some of the other drivers out there, Van Billion is coming along quickly with Mark Smith as well. They're both on fresh tyres. Same for Luke Yeager. So we have got a few different strategies now in play in this race, and I always love it when we get some split strategies in a race. It makes for a very interesting race because everybody's driving differently. Everybody's driving to a certain number that they need to drive to. Some people are absolutely flying, some people are sort of going a little bit slower, and then others are keeping pace even though they're on some slightly older tyres. So we're seeing a whole mix of different strategies out there. But up the front, Foster is going to make a move for second place right now, diving down the inside of Needler, and the 53 moves up into second position. Now he has to just close that little bit of gap up to Stevie Dubb and try and get past him. It's not going to be the easiest task, I imagine.
No, definitely not the easiest. Stevie Dubb knows how to make that Chevrolet a little bit wider than it needs to be at times. But as we can see also now on the live pictures, those lights starting to come into effect, Carl, and that also throws a different perspective through the race car when you've got shadows starting to form across the track from the lights.
Absolutely, and well, America has been home to an eclipse this week. Not an eclipse here at Richmond, but the sun is indeed setting, and we will be going into darkness very, very soon indeed. And that's going to change how this track performs as the temperature goes down. The track temperature will drop a little bit as Needler just gives the wall a bit of a rub there. Just got himself caught up on the wall as we were riding on board with him there, and giving the right side a bit of a scrape. That's something that you've got to really run as close as you can to the wall here at Richmond, and it's very easy just to make that little mistake and find yourself scraping along that safer barrier, especially along the front. Well, it's not really a straight, the front corner, the tri-oval section. But you don't want to do that too often, as it can eventually cause you issues. So got away with it that time, but just showing that it is so easy to make a little mistake like that on a track like this here at Richmond.
We can hear too the needler going up and down through the gears. I know some guys are only sticking fourth gear around here, so just some nice easy gear shifting for needler. And what he's got to be careful there, Carl, is that as he comes out, or as he changes down, he doesn't get a compression lock up, and that will send the car around. Also, he waits until the car's straight and then changes gear.
So easy to just catch yourself out with a downshift in these cars. Of course, they are a sequential shift now in the Cup car, which does make it a little bit different. But it is very easy to downshift and find yourself spinning up those rears and all of a sudden having the rear of the car overtake you. Never a nice feeling, and you always feel a little bit daft when it happens, but it happens to the best of us, and it's an easy mistake to make. But it all depends on how you got the setup as well, how long you've got the diff running, how much final drive you've got in the car. We've got some people that have set it up to run just in fourth gear, and that makes it a little bit less work in the car, but it can just cost you a little bit of speed as well.
We can see here now Foster really closing in on the back of Williams. So be ready to have a nice little battle here in for first place as they're closing up on the back of, I think that's Derek Jacobs. So Derek's not having the night that he would like, just in front.
Going well with 56 laps in. The leaders are starting to catch the back of the pack. I don't think Derek took not sure if Derek took tyres in that last stop. He was a little bit slow, but we saw Justin Allen drop down a lap, and I don't think he took tyres either. So a few of those guys that did not take tyres are just dropping off in speed a little bit. All the drivers bar Purnell, Needler and Stevie Dubb up in the top 10 have taken tyres. So that just shows what an advantage those fresh tyres are giving at the moment, as the leaders catch up to the back of the train of cars, and getting a nice long crocodile at the moment. As they just start down the inside there of Tristan Koch, as he just tightens up on the exit there. But this is the time where Stevie Dubb's going to be struggling a little bit more, because his tyres have done a lot more laps than Foster. Foster can run slightly different lines. He's got a little bit more meat on the tyre. He can afford to run a slightly tighter line, whereas Stevie Dubb, he's going to just drift up the track a little bit. And when you're lapping a car, it's very easy to find yourself drifting up and then connecting with the car on the outside. Such an easy mistake to make. And it's not even really a mistake. It's just that you don't have the grip left in the car. Those tyres just do not want to give you any more grip than they are able to give. And you just can't turn the car any further down the track. And you just give the lapped car a tiny little clip. And it's one of those things that's not really it's not really anybody's fault. It's just an unfortunate thing of the way this track works.
Yeah, you're right, Carl. Now, just looking at the laps, Stevie Williams is coming up to put 62 laps on this set of tyres. So if our little spies are right, we should see him in pit lane within the next 10 to 15 laps, because those tyres would just about be done on their life. So it's going to be actually interesting to see how long he can get out of those tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I would not put it past Stevie Dubb to extend the tyre life by a good 20 or so laps. He's one of those drivers that has got that knowledge, and we know DPR are very good with their setups as well. they could well have themselves in a good setup window here to just be running fast, but also not be working the tyres too hard. So could see them actually getting a bit of life out of those tyres as well as a bit of speed.
Yeah, well, they always seem to be able to stretch that tyre life. Dyson and Pearson are two of the masters at it. But we also have a master of that here tonight, running in down in 12th position now. Our elderly statesman of sim racing in Australia and New Zealand, Norman Clark, just having a nice little run there, back in 12th. So we'll keep an eye on him in the closing stages of this race.
I've just noticed Tristan Koch has come in for his stop, so he's coming in to get some fresh boots. He only did about 40 odd laps on those in that stint, but I don't think he took tyres last time, so he is coming for some fresh tyres and is going to see how this one unfolds. He's got the fresh tyres now. He'll have a lot of speed in that car, but that just tells me we might be seeing a few more drivers pulling it into the lane in the very near future here. So we will keep an eye on that one for you as we are 66 laps into 400 here. Oh, big clip of the wall there for Mark Smith. Very heavy whack. Looks like he's gotten away relatively unscathed, but that will have hurt the car a little bit. That probably will have knocked the right rear out of alignment a little bit, and that could really come in to cause some pain later in this race.
It looks like it's still fairly straight down the right side, as we've seen the pictures on the right side of the car. So he's been very lucky there, Carl. And you can see here a little bit of damage down that right rear, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him too much.
No, he seems to have gotten away with it relatively unscathed, which is good news. The only thing, it's more of a psychological damage that it does almost than physical damage to the car. As the driver, you get that psychological damage of being like, I've damaged the rear, it's not working how it should do, it's going to be wearing quicker, and you've got to just get yourself out of that mindset. The other thing as well is if it's just damaged the suspension a tiny bit, can just knock it out of alignment, just knock it slightly off balance, and that can just leave it to wear a little bit unevenly. But luckily, the right rear here is it's crucial, but it's not as painful as one of the right front would be.
Yeah, definitely. As we have a look at the pictures here now, Stevie Williams and Ed Foster coming up the lap. The sole Quantum car in the field tonight, Brett Campbell. That's I know Brett doesn't really like the short tracks, but good to see him out there and continuing to run tonight in the race.
Absolutely, and well, sitting in 13th position at the moment can be unlucky for some, but hopefully tonight it will prove to be a good position for Brett Campbell as we see them just coming their way through some of the traffic. And well, Stevie Dutt has got some good pace at the moment. He's still one of the fastest cars out on track, and he's a good couple of tenths faster than Foster, which just tells me he's got that car absolutely dialed in at the moment. That thing is in a sweet spot.
We've still got 330 laps to go, or just under 330 laps to go. So let's hope that that sweet spot stays there for him, Carl. But with the track taking rubber and things, we may see these guys start to have to take a little bit of a different mind throughout the turns. And if they don't get that right line, we may see some little bit of spills. But Stevie Dutt now up to 74 laps on this set of tyres. He'll be able to stretch it out just a few more laps, I'd say, if our information is correct, and then we will see him down pit lane.
I've got to say, the pace he's carrying at the moment, I reckon he'll be able to extend it out a fair bit longer, because he is not showing any sign of slowing down in pace. He is really setting some good laps. About 0.6 of a second slower than his fastest lap. But that car is looking absolutely switched on at the moment. Going to be interesting to see how the rest of the field cope with tyres. And well, if we see some people coming in to try and get themselves into a different strategy, we've got Derek Jacobs in the lane now.
I'd say this will be for a full tank of fuel and a full fresh set of Dunlop, so Goodyear tyres, into the V8 supercars. So he's up on the right side, so fresh tyres go on the right. Up on the left, so he's taking a full set of tyres. He'll definitely have a little bit of speed in that car, but unfortunately with green flag stopped, he's now gone 3 laps down.
And I reckon he's got himself a penalty coming into the lane, unfortunately, because he is stationary for a long time, and he is going to be sitting there with a painful couple of moments there for Derek Jacobs. That is never fun to have happen. Meanwhile, Stevie Dubb's still up front, still setting some good pace. It's starting to drop off a little bit now, as Foster is starting to close the gap back up a tiny bit. Needler still setting some good pace, about 3 seconds, about 3.3 seconds behind at the moment. But pace is coming back into that car, so long run pace is looking good for the VSK entry. Chris Purnell sitting in 4th position, just keeping himself nicely in the race. 6 seconds off the lead. We've got Wayne Van Billion in 5th position, about 8.7 off the lead. As you see, Tristan Koch trying to unlap himself and get past there. Luke Yeager is next up, some 9 seconds off the lead, almost 10 seconds, and 10 seconds right now off the lead in 6th position. Matty Ray working his way up through the field quietly, as he often does. The Ninja Assassin, Mr. Matty Ray, working his way up 9 positions into 7th position, 10 seconds off the lead. Then we got Tom Williams in 8th spot in the 22, having a solid race, just lost a little bit of pace. He's one of those drivers that came in for some fresh tyres and a little bit of repair work in that last stop. Next up is Jamie Nankervis in 9th position, 15 seconds off the lead. Just keeping the car cruising along nicely. Not any damage on it, just keeping it out of trouble. With his teammate Scott Lefevre back in 10th position and 16 seconds off the lead of the race. That's our top 10 here tonight. As we move down a little bit, we've got Mark Smith up 4 positions still. We saw him take a big lick in the wall and just damage the right a little bit, but looking like he's still got some pace. He's just ahead of Norman Clark in 12th position. The veteran Norman Clark just cruising along at the moment, and expect him to sort of work his way up through the field latterly in this race as tyre wear and fatigue starts to come in and hit some of the younger drivers. Brett Campbell sits in 13th position for Quantum Esports, having a solid run at the moment, 30 seconds down off the lead. Next up we have Jared Williams, keeping along nicely after making that little mistake earlier on in the race. He is cruising along nicely now. Tristan Koch next up, the first car that has made a second stop here. He is coming along quickly and setting some good pace at the moment, trying to get back some of those positions, some of those laps positions, and trying to get an undercut on the rest of the field. Justin Allen is 6 laps down, unfortunately, out there getting some experience tonight, just keeping himself in the right position, just keeping that car circulating and inside the points. And it looks like we may have lost Derek Jacobs and Noddy Tompkins from the race. Mark Smith pulling it into the lane, first of the top 10 to top 10, yes, I think he was in top 10, to come into the lane. He is bringing it in now for his stop, as a caution flag is out. We have got the caution flag out again. Who was this one for? And it's for Van Billion. Wayne Van Billion is facing the wrong direction on the front oval, as he has had a bit of a moment with Brett Campbell. Let's get the replay here of the VSK driver, and this is disaster for him, as he was inside the top 5. Just looks like they've just run out of room coming through that tri-oval section. You've got 2 cars on very different stints. Campbell up there, up high, just keeping himself sort of in that high position. Van Billion just running up a little bit towards him, makes contact and finds himself in the wall very, very quickly. And that is a painful incident for the number 3 car, and that is going to hurt him dearly. Well, that gives the opportunity for everybody to come into the lane for some fresh tyres and fuel here. A few will stick out to try and get some laps back as well, I am sure. But this is exactly what Stevie Dub wanted.
Yeah, definitely right. And that's unfortunate for Mark Smith. He's now gone a lap down and got caught in pit lane as that caution came out.
Yeah, that is disastrous timing for Mark Smith. He's just really in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that hurt him immensely. Never fun when you're making a green flag stop and the caution flag comes out. It can really hamper your race and leave you in a very, very awkward position. Just looking through the field, Norman Clark just bringing it in now. He's sort of stayed out just to make sure he didn't drop a lap, and he will get himself in and out and remain on the lead lap here. Steve Dubs remains in the lead as he makes his stop, and Edward Foster stays in second with Carl Needler. Matty Ray jumping up a whole heap of positions up into 4th spot now, with Tom Williams in 5th position.
You might see if we can get that chat with Mr. Foster. You got a copy there, Ed. Mark up in the booth, mate.
Sure do, mate.
How's it going for you tonight, mate? It looks like it's a pretty good return to the old short track circuit.
Yeah, I really do like this place. It is hard to pass though. A little bit worried about this 98 in front of me. I couldn't do anything about him even with new tyres on. So yeah, he looks like he might be a problem. But yeah, it's going all right.
That's good, mate. So tyre wear, harsh on the tyre wear, or just the usual mediocre tyre wear around here at Richmond?
You've just got to be gentle with it. It's really easy to overheat your tyre if you're too rough either on the entry or the exit. So that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to pass, because you really can't ask too much of your either set of tyres in order to get a move done, which makes it really tricky. So yeah, we're just working on it. We're making adjustments on every stop so far, just trying to get it a little bit nicer, and hopefully we've got something to take to this beast in front of us.
Well, mate, we'll let you get back to it. There's only 308 laps to go, so we've got plenty of time to put some moves on and some great racing still to be had.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Cheers, mate.
All right, mate. Good luck. So, we heard it there firsthand. A little bit gentle on the tyres, and we know that Foster really knows how to look after those tyres. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he's got an answer for Williams.
Absolutely. Look, keep an eye on that 53. He will be trying, but the 98 is looking absolutely stellar out there tonight, as we saw at Bristol as well. Really fast car, very well set up, and a nice restart there from Stevie Dub. But it can all come a cropper as the race goes on if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just make a mistake as you're passing some of the lapped cars, or find yourself in the wrong position at the wrong time. You can very quickly find your race ending despite being in the absolutely sweetest setup car. So hopefully we'll see some redemption for Stevie Dub tonight, because he got really caught out early a couple of races ago. Meanwhile, Valve Esports are absolutely in a whole little pack together. We've got now Curvis, Purnell and Lefevre up there, all battling it out, trying to get past Luke Yeager at the moment. So plenty of action on track up the front. Foster trying to get some different lines going, trying to work out a way to attack Stevie Dub. Just can't quite get it figured out at the moment. He's trying a number of different little runs and approaches into the corner and the exit, just seeing if he can spook Stevie Dub, but that is not going to be an easy task. Stevie Dub absolutely knows what he's doing on ovals. He is not going to fall to any of the tricks in the handbook. He is going to be a very hard man to pass. gap now at 0.4 of a second between Stevie Dubb and Edward Foster. They are moving along nicely. Fastest lap just set by Carl Needler. That car is quick, especially in the short run pace. I reckon the number 2 car is probably one of the fastest cars out there at the moment in a short run situation. That's something to keep an eye on as we get towards the end of the race. If we get a green light checker and Carl Needler is up towards the front of this pack, do not discount him for victory here tonight. That thing is absolutely rapid on the early stages of the stint. We saw it dropping off a little bit in the long run, but if he's done some adjustments, if he's just tweaked it right, he could find himself in an absolute prime position and find himself coming along nicely in this stage of the race. He's keeping the gap nice and close between himself, Foster, and Williams. So Carl Needler doing an absolute stellar job once again here tonight, knocking on the door for a podium, possibly a victory. We'll have to see how that one unfolds as the race goes on. But he's got Matty Ray closing in behind him, another absolute wily veteran who could easily find himself up towards the front and put himself in prime position here tonight. A little bit further back, we've got a battle between Purnell and Tom Williams going on. The two racing for position, chopping and changing every couple of moments. At the moment, Chris Purnell has got the move done, got himself up into 5th position. Tom Williams just dropping down to 6th at the moment, but keeping some good momentum in that car. It's absolutely got some good pace here tonight. He's going to be hoping that he can keep this up as the race runs on, as we're 102 laps in here tonight. 298 remaining. Still a long way to go here at Richmond.
Yeah, Tom Williams isn't as quick as what he was in that first stage. He's definitely dropping back as we see there. Jamie Nankervis get underneath him. So we do see this with these cars. They do have some strong points and some weak points, and through the tyre wear they get stronger and fall off. So right at the moment he's just going through that stage where probably the tyre wear just isn't 100% right for him.
Yeah, we could well see him coming back to pace later in the stint, and we saw that earlier on. A few cars just struggling a little bit in the early stages, but coming good at the latter stages of the stint, and vice versa. How will it go in this stage of the race? Well, we will find out soon as we continue on. And, well, will we see any more cautions here tonight as well? That could be a crucial part of how this race unfolds. If we see a couple more cautions here tonight, especially if they fall at the right position at the right time for some of these drivers. We've still got 10 cars on the lead lap. Norman Clark, the final car on the lead lap at the moment. Brett Campbell sits in the lucky dog position. Should a caution flag fall, should he be the car that's not involved in it, he could very well find himself back on the lead lap here tonight. He's still ahead of Mark Smith at the moment. Mark Smith came into the lane. He took a lengthy stop just to get some repairs done and get that car back out. And it's looking like it's still got some pace, but not quite as much pace as the early stages of last race. So not quite as rapid as it was in the early stages of the race. And I wonder if that bit of damage to the right rear has just hampered the car a little bit. Just got it not feeling absolutely perfect for Mark Smith. And he's just starting to struggle a little bit. But knowing Mark Smith, he will overcome that and will adapt to it latterly in this race. And once he gets used to how it feels, he will be rapid once again, I'm sure. He's battling it out with Jared Williams at the moment, who's doing a stellar job in that car. A lot of road racing experience, not so much on the oval side, but coming along nicely at the moment and keeping pace with Mark Smith. Not an easy thing to do.
I will take my hats off to these guys at VRV Sports. Their paint schemes are great. I'm happy that they are, as we just see Smith just move up track and let Williams go. I was going to say I'm happy to see that they've actually changed their wheel colour, so it helps us out a little bit up here in the booth, Carl.
It does a little bit, but we've got to be careful because we've got 3 Williams now in the race, which could always lead to disaster for us. Luckily, none of them are in the same team.
Yeah. Look, Derek Jacobs has just dropped out again. I'd say he's having some internet. Oh, and we're under caution.
We are, and it's Scott Lefebvre who has gone around and it's facing the wrong direction here, going into turn 1. That car has just lost the rear, and he has done the ever classic thing of overcorrecting it and just steering the wrong direction and finding himself snapping up into the wall and giving that Camry a fairly good whack. Just watch this one from the outside, and might jump on board as well and try and get a view from inside the car just to show you what we're talking about when these snaps happen and the overcorrection of it. But we'll see here, just coming into the corner, the back end just starts to step out a little bit, and bang, there is the overcorrection, there is the crash. So he's going to go into the corner. The back end's going to start stepping out on him. And instead of putting the steering wheel straight, he tries to overcorrect it. He jinks it to the right and steers into the slide. And that causes the car to pitch up and go into the wall heavily.
So he's now in pit lane. He'll be getting some repairs done. And as we just jump back to the front to see who does what. At the moment, everyone's just stayed out. So...
They've only done about 24 laps in this stint, so I can't imagine anybody wanting to really burn a set of tyres. It's probably not going to be worth it in the long run. So I think we're not going to see anybody really risking a pit stop here. Although we've got Brett Campbell coming in, I think, mainly for repairs, as he's got the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap. I think he's just going to be coming in mainly for repairs, but he might risk it and gamble and chuck a fresh set of boots on as well. But it looks like it's just going to be repairs only for Campbell. Mark Smith is going to chuck a fresh set of boots on his car. So he's going to be trying something a little bit different here. He saved a set of tyres in that first stop. I think he only took fuel. So he didn't worry about tyres that first stop. So he's got an extra set up his sleeve. He's going to get some repairs done and then probably get back out on track and see what he can do in this race. But that has, that's neutralised the race for a couple of moments here and giving everybody a bit of a breather. And what this does as well is it just lets people cool down their tyres too, and that can be a really crucial little part of the race for you. If you can just let those tyres cool down, you can get yourself in a good position. Norman Clark's decided to bring it into the lane just for a splash of fuel. So he's trying something different in this stint as well. So we've got a few different strategies at play here, a few different options coming into it, especially inside the top 10. So we'll see how that unfolds and see if any of those little gambles pay off latterly in this stint of the race.
So it'd be interesting to see here once we get back into the restart zone where Stevie Dub decides to go early, whether he decides to go early or just hold it off. He did go earlier on that last restart, so Foster will be aware of that and watch for him to try and stick with him.
Yeah, this is where clairvoyance comes into effect. If you have got the ability to mind read, it is very useful in motorsport. Unfortunately, very few drivers have that ability. So we'll see if Foster has been practicing his mind reading techniques. And no, not again. He has just lost out a little bit as Stevie Dub gets away beautifully there. Foster keeps himself ahead of Needler, so a good start from Foster. But Stevie Williams absolutely flying away. That thing is on rails.
Purnell back up here in the top 5, looking to get the pass done on Needler. And again, Matty Ray up there in the top 5. Tom Williams has done well to get back up there in the that all-black 22 tonight in the Ford Mustang. It's a little bit loose there on the inside of Nankervis. Nankervis is going to hang tough and try and drive around the outside.
See what he can do here as he tries to work his way up. Meanwhile, Needler just losing a spot here to Chris Purnell. Purnell putting him under pressure at the moment, trying to go down the inside, but we know how rapid that VSK number 2 is tonight. Carl Needler is very quick in the short run of the stint. Can he get the pace going for him at the moment? They get so close to contact as they come across the start-finish line. They're going to be racing as hard as they like, but Chris Purnell manages to get up into 3rd position in the 920 and secures himself a spot. Meanwhile, as we look back through the pack, we have got many people in different spots now, many different drivers on different tyre lengths and tyre stints and fuel stints. So if we do get a nice long green section here, we could really see some interesting races play out for some of these drivers. Stevie Dubb, though, building up a 1 second lead already. He is absolutely rapid in that thing. The mean green machine, Stevie Dubb, is flying here at Richmond.
Yeah, we've got 8 cars on the same strategy, and then we've got all the rest of the field, Carl, as you said, on different strategies. With guys just coming down pit lane, taking some fuel and tyres. So the top 8 drivers now, from Williams down to Luke Jager, are all on 34 lap old tyres. So definitely see how this works out. Like you said, just going to mix things up a little bit.
Absolutely, and while Brett Campbell and Norman Clark are on the same stint of tyre length as well, they just came in for some repairs and fuel, so they've not really got any pace advantage at the moment that we can see. So they're more so just in stint length and tyre and fuel. So we'll see how that one pans out for them. If we get a nice long green period here, it could work out very well for Norman Clark, who can just extend his stint a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We see now Jamie Nankervis finally get that move done on Tom Williams for 6th position. Took him a few laps, so let's hope that he hasn't hurt those tyres and can get a good long life run out of him.
See how that one goes out. It's coming back a little bit for Carl Needler now. He has just set the fastest lap event. Well, the fastest car out there at the moment, and he's setting some good pace. That thing looks like it's back in the operational range of temperatures, and he is starting to get some pace back, trying to close in a little bit on Chris Purnell, not letting the leaders run away too much. About 2.5 seconds separates the top 4 at the moment, and 1.6 seconds separates Foster to Williams. That's just how much of a gap Stevie Dubb has at the moment in that DPR entry. Absolutely flying at the moment, and well, not a surprise, Stevie Dubb absolutely mega on short tracks. He is a very, very rapid driver and has a lot of experience under his belt, but tonight he is absolutely got that car dialed into his driving style, and it is working beautifully for him, and he is making it work for him as well. He's making that setup work perfectly too. So driver and car in a symbiotic relationship there, and it is paying off in droves.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned before his race at Dover didn't go the way he would have liked. He was out leading and got mixed up with a lap car, and ended up on his roof. So definitely looking to rectify that and get a good points haul. And as I said earlier, he wins here tonight. He does lock himself in to the playoff, providing he does do enough races for the year.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the battle for second is on as Purnell has just got past Edward Foster. Foster just dropping a little bit back in this stint, just not quite got the same pace as we saw in the last stage of the race as the tyre wear starts to come out. About 42 laps on this stint of tyres, so it's coming along a little bit here as, we've got a caution flag again. The caution flag flies here. What for, I wonder? We'll try and figure that out as we
Incident with Williams. Tom Williams. He's here's the replay now, Carl.
I was going to say, it doesn't really narrow it down too much. We've got three Williams in the field, Mark. Let's see what's happened here to Tom Williams. And, so he's going to come through the corner here. Gets on the power a little bit too early. Bang, fishtailing it all the way down. Gets a absolute tank slapper on that car and spins it around. He just misses the wall, just saves it. But that was that's one of those errors where you look back at it and you go, damn, that was stupid. That was a silly moment there. And you feel a little bit dumb when it happens to you.
Yeah.
But you just got to take a breath and then get back into the race as we drive on board. So coming out the corner here, he's just going to get through, drops it down to fourth, puts his foot down a little bit too hard, and bang, 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 bang. And that's the issue with dropping gears sometimes, is you get a little bit more torque, a little bit more rear wheel spin, and it just snaps the car from underneath you. And that is a costly mistake for Tom Williams. Hopefully, he'll be able to get back in the race. Meanwhile, we've had some pit stops happening. Carl Needler has come in and looks like fuel only for him. May have taken one set of tyres. Edward Foster, Jamie Nankervis and Norman Clark have stayed out, crucially. So everybody else has come in for tyres and fuel. But this is a big mix of strategies here, and this could be the fact that these guys came in that little bit earlier. They might be wanting just to save an extra set of tyres. They may be thinking, well, we might only get a short stint here, so it's going to be worth just sticking it out. So they're trying something a little bit different. So what will we find in the next stage of the race?
You can see the race info come up there. 4 cautions so far tonight for 18 laps. 267 laps to go. 2 lead changes and 3 different leaders. So it's not too bad of a race stats there. So we'll see how we continue on for the rest of the night.
265 laps remaining in the race. We've done 135 of them. We've seen a couple of little cautions. It's been sort of single car incidents. There was an incident between Brett Campbell and it was Wayne Van Billion early on. That was the only sort of multi-car incident we've seen so far in tonight's race. So just a lot of single car moments and just little spins, little moments just on the exit of the corner, which is sort of typical here at Richmond. It's one of those tracks that really can bite and just catch you out if you're just a little bit inexperienced or just not 100% focused on that corner exit. It is very easy to make those little mistakes here, especially on a long run, as you sort of get more and more settled into the car, and all of a sudden it will snap from nowhere.
So where is Foster going to restart this race? And is Nankervis going to be able to stick with him?
The one to watch out for is that green car of Stevie W. He's on fresh tyres now. He is going to be flying. Same with Chris Purnell. So how can this go? Can he manage to keep those cars behind him? We're going to find out now. Into the restart zone we go. Early start from Foster. Catches everybody sleeping a little bit. He gets away nicely. Builds up a little bit of a gap. But Stevie W is going to want to get himself up quickly. And he is. He's down the inside of Norman Clark, moving himself up the field as quick as possible. He is really going to be sailing now. Gets past Nankervis. So next on his hit list is Foster. And watch the exit here of Stevie Dub. Nothing Foster can do. but this is not his part of the race. Foster knows he can't keep Stevie Dub behind him. He just needs to keep that car in operational range. He just needs to keep that car in a clean condition now, because he's on a different strategy to Stevie Williams, and he's going to hope that that strategy pays off. Chris Purnell gets underneath Foster as well. Matty Ray moving himself up pretty rapidly now too. So this is a different style of race now. This is a see what happens at the end. Has Foster worked it out to perfection here, or has Stevie Dub got the prime position? We will find out as we get underway here. 140 laps in, 260 laps here remaining at Richmond for Aussie Outlaw Series on Checkered Flag e-streaming.
Williams now has been able to stretch that gap. You're 100% right, Colin, what you said before, and exactly what Foster said. That thing is in a sweet spot because we're now back under 4 laps under green, and he's been able to stretch that gap out now to almost a second back to Purnell.
He's just set the fastest lap of the race at 21.8 and is absolutely flying at the moment. Everybody else in the 22s, Stevie Dub in the 21.8s at the moment, and that just shows the pace advantage of that car. It is absolutely working to perfection, and he is driving it perfectly as well. It is all working together well here, and he is stretching that lead. What he doesn't want to see is in about 10 to 15 laps time another caution. That's what Foster's banking on here, is a caution to come out sort of relatively close to this one, so he can come in and get some fresh tyres and then try and do exactly what we're seeing Stevie Dub do now. Same for Purnell. Purnell wants us to run green for as long as possible. He's coming for fresh tyres. So Stevie Dub and Chris Purnell want to see a nice long green flag stop. Sorry, a nice long green flag period. Carl Needler, meanwhile, he's one of those cars I think that only took one set of tyres. So he's sitting in a bit of a different position, but he is working well at the moment. That car is coming along nicely. I'm just going back to see exactly what he did. Looks like he just took right sides only, but that car is working well, and that balance is paying off at the moment. You know, if you just take one set of tyres, left or right side only, sometimes the balance can just be a little bit thrown off. But for Carl Needler, it is working nicely. We see Matty Ray get past Foster now. Matty Ray, another one of those drivers on fresh tyres. So Foster's going to be sitting here taking a little bit of pain, but it could well come back to him later in this race, especially if we see another caution in the very near future.
Yeah, Foster's really hurt the guys now that are up there have all on fresh tyres. Luke Jager is sitting there behind Foster. He's on fresh tyres too. Jamie Nankervis is still out there on the 58 lap old tyres. So definitely a tyre battle at the moment with those guys that came in and took tyres really coming to the front at the moment.
Yeah, they're just going to be hoping that we get about 60 or 70 laps of green flag racing here. Those guys that are taking tyres, they do not want to see a caution anytime soon. While everybody else who did not take tyres wants to see a caution in probably about 10 to 15 laps time. They want to see a caution come out at that stage where drivers will be not wanting to change their tyres. You know, when you've chucked a fresh set of boots on, you don't want to just have to get a new set on straight away afterwards. You sort of get to a stage in the race where it's not worth changing, or it's just too much of a gamble to change, or you know, you don't want to use up an extra set of those tyres. So if that happens, we could well see them coming back in this race. But if we don't see a caution, you've got to say those guys that stayed out are going to be struggling.
You see here the battle that Jager and Foster are having. Foster's been able to keep him behind at the moment. Jager's just not really searching to try and get past. Got to be careful that when he comes across, sweeps across the back of the Foster's car, that he doesn't actually touch him. It looks like Jaeger may have this move done this time by. No, not this time. Foster's hanging tough on that outside line.
There's a fair difference between the tyres between those two cars, but Foster just able to keep some pace in there, making it as hard as possible for Luke Jaeger. But Jaeger has just about got it. Just needs an extra couple of metres into the corner or out of the corner there, just to slide it up in front of Foster. Doesn't quite have that overlap yet, and until he gets that safety net, that safety blanket, he can't really be comfortable and run his own line, and that's going to be hurting his tyres latterly in this stint as well. That's the one thing Foster's doing at the moment. He's not really hurting his tyres. He's just sitting there and just letting the tyres do their job, whereas Luke Jaeger was having to drive more aggressively. He was having to put a little bit more steering angle into the car, and that was just affecting his tyres a little bit more, and that will come back to bite him in this stint. That will come back to hurt him a little bit as this stint goes on, and that's what Foster's looking for at the moment.
Back up front, Carl, we've got Williams now out to a 2.5 second gap over this man, Chris Purnell, in the 920 Camry. So Williams has been able to really stretch his legs here on this stint.
Yeah, he's shown some really good pace in this stage of the race and is still setting the timing boards alight by setting the fastest lap of anybody at the current moment. Although Chris Purnell is starting to match him as well, so that is crucial. To give you an idea, Williams and Purnell in the 22.2s at the moment, Foster in the 22.6s. So that's the difference between the old tyres and the new. Not the biggest of drop-offs we've seen here tonight as well. The tyre drop-off is only about half a second or so. So that's going to be important knowledge for these drivers if we get a nice long green flag stint, because they can sort of they can work out that they're going to sort of get a bit of the undercut, but it's not going to be as strong as some other tracks. You know, you're not going to be gaining a second a lap on the car in front of you. You might only be gaining, well, you might only be getting like half a second or so, and that could be a factor into this race as well, and that could come back to play as we get the green flag stops happening if we do not see a caution flag out.
100% right, Carl. Just trying to work out.
So we've got Foster and Nankervis 72 laps into a stint now. So we're going to get some good knowledge here of how long people can go on their tyres as well, and how people feel on them. So that's going to be a really useful bit of intelligence for us as this race goes on.
I've just done some arithmetic-y stuff. For fuel, Williams is going to need to come down pit lane on lap 252. So keep an eye on that if he can stay out here on this set of tyres for a full tank of fuel. We won't see him back down until lap 252.
Okie dokie. We'll keep an eye on that one then and see just how long he can extend this stint. I think it's going to be crucial if we do get a nice long green stint period here. We're going to get some good knowledge from Foster and Nankervis, although they've had a few cautions between between themselves in this race, and they've not done a full green flag stint at full pace. We will get some good knowledge of when people need to come into the lane, when they need to stop, and just what the strategies could be. So they're going to have to stop first if we do not get a caution, and we'll see how that one plays out latterly in this race.
Yeah, correct. And the crucial lap that these guys need to get to, I don't think anyone, well, no one can get to that crucial lap. Is 280 on fuel, so they can at 280 they can come in fuel, and they don't need to stop again for fuel. Only tyres if they need to.
Yeah, so some of the drivers will have been working back from that, getting an idea of what they need to do there as well. I'm sure they will be thinking about that crucial lap number as well, just getting to that stage and then reverse engineering their race. Gap is not too bad at the moment between Foster and Williams. Foster, the first car on old tyres, about 11 seconds he's lost. So it's not dropping down too far, and they're starting to plateau a little bit as well. Stevie Dove last time was a 22.4, Foster a 22.7, so there's not a huge difference, only a couple of tenths between those two cars every lap. And although that does add up, he's sort of sitting in a position where it can be worked with in this race, depending on when they need to stop. So they're just going to be hoping that we get a nice long green flag period. Maybe they come in for tyres, maybe they get a nice big undercut, and then the caution flag flies a little bit later in this race while everybody's out of position. It could really pay off for them if it plays out in their favour.
Just keeping an eye on this. Is probably the closest battle we've got on track at the moment between these three guys, Foster, Nankervis and Williams. But as you said, Foster and Nankervis are on the same tyre strategy. So I think if Foster blinks, you'll see Nankervis down there with him to try and help him out with the draft.
Yeah, they may well come in working together and see what they can sort of work out in this race. And they're sort of setting good pace at the moment. They're both setting similar pace to each other, and they're not really having to fight too hard, although Tom Williams is just getting a move done on Jamie Nankervis now as he gets underneath him on those 40 lap fresher tyres, and is able to make the move on him there and get through. Big snap again for Williams. Tom Williams, as he goes round, this is going to bring out the caution flag. Is it? Not yet.
No.
Somehow it doesn't bring out the caution flag. That is a massive mistake for Tom Williams, and that caution flag could have been a big factor in this race, but the caution did not fly. The iRacing marshals deciding that was okay, but we'll just see here. It just takes a tight line through there and just gets on the power again a little bit too early. I reckon that's the issue, and it's just sent that car around just a little bit too much gas on the exit. And I wonder if he's dropped it down into fourth again, put his foot down, and just got a little bit more torque than he was expecting, and it has sent him careering round. So we've seen this a couple of laps ago with him, and it's caught him out again, unfortunately, after a really good run of pace for Tom Williams tonight. Just getting caught out by a tiny little bit. Just runs up a little bit wide there, and just out of position on the exit. He just takes the exit a little bit too tight. There's a nasty little bump there from memory, and I reckon that's what's unsettled the car and sent him careering around.
He's done the smart thing. He's dropped it in the reverse, got down below that yellow line. So I think that's why the marshals have decided to leave that green flag out as we go back to live pictures, and we'll jump up with Purnell.
Yeah, that's it. Dropping below that line has just saved them that little bit and just saved that caution flag from appearing. Well, what we might do here is jump on board with our leader Stevie Dubb and get a couple of laps of this Richmond track. Okay, and we now have up in the booth Wayne Van Billion. Wayne, welcome to the booth, mate. Not the way we'd like to see you up here tonight. Looked like you had some real good pace in the number 3.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, bit of a disappointing night in the end. I was making my way up. Car was feeling comfortable. I think I'd sort of got the hang of the tyres, so yeah, we're starting to close the top 5 down. I think I was 5th at the time, or possibly 5th, closing down 4th, and then just had some contact down that front straight. Got nose into the wall, and 17 laps worth of waiting in the pits, about 6 minutes worth of damage. Sort of put paid to the night.
Oh, that is a huge shame. It's one of those awkward things at Richmond that when you get that little bit of contact and it nerfs you up to the wall like that, especially if it's nose on, it really is quick to end the night. But it looked like the cars had some good pace out there tonight, especially with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all really enjoying the series. We obviously run in the Ends Car League on a Wednesday night, which is a precursor to this. So we've all had some good practice racing around each other. But yeah, Carl, he's a privateer in here, but he's part of the VSK team. He's really had good pace. He's racing really well. So it's another pole for him tonight, which is great. I think that's his 3rd of the season. So he's really come together in your league, and he's pretty passionate about running here. And Luke Yeager's another one that runs with us in the league in a normal night. He's showing some good pace. So yeah, it's actually been really good fun. So I've had a lot of good races. Pity this one ended the way that it did, but we'll have to fight another night.
Absolutely. Look, it's a shame to see you out early, but good to see that you've got the pace and got the setups working well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not really doing too much. I think we're using the setups that you guys are providing, or Mark's providing, and they're working pretty well. A few minor tweaks, and we're actually just spending the time on the track in the car and just getting used to it. So yeah, good pace. We're feeling pretty quick. We feel we might be able to pull a win, at least one somewhere out in the season if the conditions fall right. But yeah, right now just happy to be running the top 10 and running, able to keep up more than anything, I guess.
Well, it's a pleasure. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Carl isn't doing too bad at the moment. I've got him live on screen now, and he's really giving Purnell some great pressure here for 2nd place. So I mean to say, to be able to mix it with the likes of Purnell and co, you guys are definitely doing some great stuff from across the ditch there. So it's good to see you guys out here running. Not the race that you guys would have liked last week at Coda, but it's good to see you out here and having a great run.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We're enjoying all of them rides. So
as we just put the mocker on Carl as he come out of turn 2 there, we see him get very loose and get sideways. Sorry, Wayne. But yeah, it was just almost the commentator's curse for him.
Yeah, he would have been nipping there for a second. Right? Last thing he wanted to do is have it snap back and do some damage. So he's still got only halfway, right? 200 laps to go. So he's just got to keep calm. But no, Carl's he's really come along in this series. He races with us in Ends car, and he actually didn't even make the playoffs there. Some of it circumstantial, but the results didn't fall his way the way that the season. But after Coda, I think he was top of the points leaderboard for the Aussie Outlaws, and he was pretty proud of that position. I think he took a 2nd place at Coda as well.
Yeah, so he definitely got 2nd there. Scott Lefebvre got around him with, I think, 3 laps to go, or 4 laps to go. So just didn't have quite the right setup.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's again, I think, surprising himself a bit too with his pace. So it's good to see him back and enjoying the NASCAR. He took a bit of a break, even from the NASCAR series. Was over the accidents and was over the frustration of having pace and not getting results. But it's coming together for him nicely here, and sitting in the team chat, it's actually good. It's good to see Carl positive, and when he's positive, he races as well. So we think he'll be the most out of us, the most likely to be able to nab a win this season. And I suppose he's got the 1 lap pace in terms of the poles. He's just got to put a full race strategy together, and it'll come together for him.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see him from even from our practice races, our recruitment races, how much he's actually improved as the seasons come on, and he's really starting to get right into this. And I do know that he's still leading the championship at the moment, outside of the playoff contenders. He's probably gonna make the playoffs, if not with a race win, but with the points. So that's definitely good for himself and the team, Wayne.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we all sort of set ourselves the target of making the playoffs would be awesome for us. So the fact that three of us are sitting comfortably in the top 10, outside of race wins, we know if we just keep banking points every week as well, that's the best we can do outside of actually getting a win. So just got to keep turning up each week, running the laps, and our chances will come. Tonight wasn't my night, but if Carl can get himself a back-to-back podium, and he'll be super stoked. It'll be awesome for VSK, and it just builds confidence, right? The closer and closer you get, he won't be far from tipping that over. He's got one ends car win, did it as a super speedway, but I think he'd love to win one in a bit more of a technical track where the tyre wear comes into play. And definitely here. I mean, he's driving away from Purnell now, which is quite nice to see. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think his ability exceeds his mindset sometime, right? I think he doesn't give himself enough credit for what a good driver he is, and here he's showing it.
Yeah, he definitely is. And as we said, or as said, he's been in the podium positions, and he's had one or two races there earlier in the season where it just hasn't worked out for him, and I think he's only had one race or two races where he's actually finished outside the top 10 so far this season. And I mean to say, you've got some great drivers in here, so he really deserves a good bit pat on the back for the way he's racing.
Yeah, definitely. Well said, Mark. I think that's we're super pleased for him in the way that he's driving, and like I said, he's really enjoying his driving, and when his mindset is great, he's quick. So long way to live for him, right? And if we can turn that into a successful season, it doesn't have to come with a win, but first goal is the playoffs, and once you've done that one, we'll take it from there. But there's still a long way to go. What do we race number 7 today?
Yep. Seven out of 26 regular season, and before we get into the playoffs, so still a long way to go. And we've got some big races coming up. We've got the Talladega in a fortnight, the Anzac round. That's a 500 miler, and we've also got the 600 miler back in the season this year, in the calendar this year at Charlotte. So some big races still to come, and yourself and the team may get some silverware this year.
Yeah, maybe so. I think we're already working on our liveries for the Anzac, so we're going to be with you there on that parade. So looking forward to that one, and working together a bit as a team. Carl and I know how to push well together. I think we messed up Daytona because we had a strategy there. It didn't play out the way we thought it would play, and ended up coming nowhere. But he pushed me to a winner at Atlanta in our own league this season. So I think ultimately that'll be a good night for us to just test our teamwork, and then just keep turning laps, keep turning up, and hopefully the chips fall our way.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. Well, thanks for coming up and joining us in the booth here tonight, mate. And as Carl said, sorry that it's not at the end of the race. So go back, talk to your teammates, and have a nice little drink.
Yeah, will do, boys. I'll enjoy the rest of the race from there. Thanks for everything you're putting on. It's really cool and really enjoying it. So yeah, long way to live, Mark. Thanks for having me up.
No worries, mate. All right, we'll drop you back out of the room and let you enjoy the rest of the race.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you go, Carl. A bit of a dejected man, but he takes it all in his stride, and we're seeing Carl now actually drive away from Purnell quite nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. The car's coming to him in the long run pace now, and it looks like they've just, whatever they've done, just tweak that car a little bit. It's now working better, or tweaking his driving style. It's working better in the long run. He's got some good pace here. Not quite the pace to catch the leader, Mr. Stevie Dub, but he is coming along nicely. What I'm looking for is Edward Foster at the moment. He's done 128 laps on this stint at the moment. So looking good, but looking like he's going to need to come into the lane probably relatively shortly from what we've been told. But we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, well, I mean to say, we were told that 120 laps of fuel the boys can carry on board. But that's been made a lie of because, as you said, Foster's now out to 129 laps.
Well, I was given the range of about 120 to 1,000 laps, so you know it was on the lower end of the estimate. As we know, drivers, they like to give us a rough idea.
And we can see now. Sorry, I was just going to say we can see now Stevie Williams up onto the back of Foster, who's actually sitting in 5th place. So these DPR cars are definitely a strong car on these short tracks. Again, we've seen that back in Dover until Pearson got mixed up in something, and Stevie Williams ended up on his roof after getting mixed up with a lap car.
I wouldn't just say it's the short tracks. DPR are strong no matter what track you throw at them. It could be absolutely anything we put out there, and they would still have some good strength in it for sure. But yeah, they've been absolutely on fire. That car is really doing well, and Foster here is probably going to want to try and keep on the lead lap, so he's not going to make it easy for Stevie Dub to get past, but he's not going to do anything silly either, I'm sure. So it's just going to be that thing of just keeping himself to be irritating, try and keep himself on the lead lap just in case it comes. But he won't fight it too hard because he doesn't want to lose too much time here, and he knows that he's on quite a lot older tyres and probably a little bit less fuel than Stevie Dub. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him pulling it into the lane very, very shortly here.
Only 4 cautions so far tonight for 20 laps. 177 laps to go, and they will definitely wind down very quick with the pace of that Green Machine 98 of Stevie Williams. So good to see him come back after Dover, as we said, and really put in a good, strong effort.
Yeah, absolutely, and like a bit of redemption, isn't it, for Stevie Dub tonight? And hopefully it will go his way, because it was a very, very tough end to his race. He was driving very, very well, and Neil Pearson as well. You know, they were both absolutely on it, and both got caught out a little bit. So will we see the redemption story come into play? But we've got a caution on track. We've got a caution, and it is Chris Purnell facing the wrong direction here that has brought that caution flag out.
What's he done? Has he just gone to come into pit lane and looped it?
I think he's thinking about coming into pit lane, but just come in a little bit too hot onto the apron. He's left the car on the apron a little bit, and that has spun it right around. So he just gets on the apron and just doesn't quite get low enough. So you see, the rear wheel was just on the racetrack still, and that has just launched the car around and absolutely spun it in the wrong direction. And that brings out the caution flag. That's probably really good news for Foster, who will be the lucky dog, I think. So he sort of kept Stevie Dub back just long enough to get himself a lucky dog spot. But, well, we only have 3 cars on that lead lap, and Luke Yeager, Carl Needler, and Stevie Dub. And well, the 2 leaders are in the pit lane at the moment, Stevie Dub and Carl Needler. So this sort of worked out just crucial for Foster, I think, because he was looking to come into the lane relatively soon, I'm sure. Jamie Nankervis stopped about 3 laps ago, so Foster wouldn't have been that far off from pitting. So this has given him his lap back, got him back into position, and stopped him right on the time when he wanted to stop.
140 laps, you might as well say, out of that tank of fuel and on that set of tyres. So well done to Foster for keeping it out there for so long.
Sometimes luck comes your way a little bit in motorsport. You can never rely on it, but if it is nice, it can be very, very handy indeed. So that is, well, that's some good news for Foster at least. So that will put him on the lead lap, and it's going to shake things up a little bit here as well, I'm sure. So we should see a few cars getting back on the lead lap, I reckon. I'm just trying to figure it out now. But we might well see Jamie Curvis getting back on the lead lap here. So that's worked out well for him as well. So it's not worked out, though, for Chris Purnell. And this has really dropped him down the order. He's coming for his stop, but that was a painful moment for him. But this has now put everybody back on the same strategy for the next 170 laps mark.
Yeah, well, even with Foster getting that lap, we're still not going to get anyone home on the fuel. So everyone is going to have to stop again. I just see Andrew Dyson in the chat there, and I'm going to say, have you guys put the bigger tank in tonight to get this 98 car home?
Stevie Dub's got the old extra pockets in the race suit.
Oh, look, you can't take anything away from him tonight. He's really driven a great race. And the strategy's just been 100% correct the way it's going. But in saying that too, we still have a long way to go. Does Carl Needler or Luke Jager or Matty Ray even have something for these guys, for Stevie Williams?
We will find out, and I've got to say, probably the car that's going to put him under the most pressure is Carl Needler. He's really got some good pace. We know he's got some good short run pace in that car, and it looks like he's got really good long run pace as well. Just the middle's a little bit iffy. So what can happen now? We're going to get to the restart zone. Stevie Dub again gets away, and Needler bogs it down. That was a bad start for Carl Needler. That was not what he needed, and he has absolutely a bit of a butchered start there for Carl Needler. That did not work into his favour, but they all get away, and we have got a couple of cars on the lead lap as well. Foster, we've got 3 cars on the lead lap. As with all that was going on, Foster was sort of 2 laps down, I think I'm getting on my screen. So he's just a lap down now, so he can get himself back on the lead lap if he can get this one working. So it's the race of the lucky dogs behind these 3 cars of Needler, Jaeger and Stevie Williams, and Edward Foster is trying to race Matty Ray for that lucky dog position. So this is a big race. Chris Purnell there as well. So all of these dogs, all of these drivers vying for that spot just in case the caution flag flies again. And they're going to hope that they can get back into this race and get back at least on the lead lap. The other thing people are going to be thinking of now is how they're going to split up this final part of the race. Are they going to split it evenly? Are they going to try and take it as long as possible? There are a lot of different strategies you can use in this one. If they're going to split it evenly, they'll do about 80 laps on this stint. So we'll see the drivers coming in about 80 laps time. Or will they try and extend it, try and get some laps back, and hope for a late caution? So there's still a lot to play for here tonight, and anybody could still win the race, but you've got to say it's looking good for Stevie Dub. We won't put the commentator's curse on him, but he's looking okay at the moment. It's looking like it might be him. It might be Carl Needler, it might be Luke Jaeger, but really anybody can still have it because we've got a lot of laps remaining here tonight.
There's still 164 laps to go, Carl. So Let's hope everything goes well for Mr. Williams. And if he does get into anything, it's on you.
I'll find a way to blame you, Mark. Don't worry. I'll redub it with your voice.
And we're just looking further back at the moment. Foster now has that lucky dog position. Should there be a caution come out, followed very closely there by Purnell and Matty Ray. Jamie Nankervis up to 7th again, so he's having a good run. Storm and Norman, 8th position. Unfortunately, Norman is the first car 2 laps down, and his teammate Scott Lefebvre also 2 laps down. And we see the left-hand side of that car really beaten up a little bit. So we've missed something there. Brett Campbell, good to see him out there still rotating for Quantum Motorsports up into 10th place, 2 laps down. And unfortunately for Mark Smith, I think that tap on the wall that he gave the wall has really hurt that car, because he's now 4 laps down, sitting in 11th position. Garrett Williams.
You might want to keep an eye on the lead here, Mark. Sorry to jump in, but Carl Needler is putting Stevie Dubb under pressure at the moment. Needler managing to close the gap a little bit on Stevie Dubb, and was just showing the nose into the corner. It's just dropped back a tiny little bit now, but he was just putting Stevie Dubb under a little bit of pressure here. I think it might be go time for Carl Needler, who is absolutely flying at the moment, matching Stevie Dubb each lap. 22-0, 22-0 for both cars. 22-0-9-3 for Stevie Dubb, 22-0-9-8 for Carl Needler. They are absolutely matching each other's pace at the moment. Needler doing a great job of keeping up, but just starting to lose a little bit now after that initial little lunge. And it looks like it has just started to plateau a little bit for Carl Needler now, unfortunately, as Stevie Dubb is now stretching his legs, able to keep it down into the 22-0s, and he's getting himself back out towards the front. The damage for Scott Lefebvre came earlier in the race when he had that little moment. He spun it up into the wall earlier on, and has he had a moment here as well?
He's just had another moment there, and lucky again. No caution. Is he going to keep going? Yes. But we can see the left-hand side of that car very beaten up. And he's coming into pit lane. Let's see if I can find a replay. Here we go. Back it up a little bit.
Just a little bit too much throttle and just a little bit too tight, and the back end steps out, just taking a slightly too tight a line there, and it's just caused the back end to step out on him. And again, no caution, just managing to keep the car below that yellow line, but a costly mistake there for Lefebvre, and that is well, that could have been a big moment if the caution flag came out. It didn't, but it has unfortunately dropped him down a little bit and probably knocked his confidence a little bit as well, and that's probably the most damaging thing in a situation like that, is it just knocks the confidence of the driver a little bit. Hopefully though, he will brush it off and get himself back into his stride, get himself into the race again, and get himself into a rhythm, and get himself up back towards the front.
Stevie Williams now has been able to stretch that gap out to nearly a second over Needler. So it's really Stevie Williams' night tonight. He's hasn't put a foot wrong all night. So let's hope it can continue for the next 150 laps.
Keep our eyes on that one as it goes. as we are now 149 laps remaining to the end. We are quickly coming to the end of this race, and it is, well, it's coming along nicely. Edward Foster still leading the lapped cars. He is sitting in that lucky dog position, just ahead of Chris Purnell, but he has got himself a little buffer between it, although he wants to try and keep himself as close to the leader as possible, just to keep himself in a secure position. As Luke Yeager's just dropping back a little bit here on pace, battling it out with Chris Purnell, and battle for track position, not actual position. Luke Yeager is a lap ahead at the moment, sitting in third position, and this could be a really good night for those two. Sitting in a podium spot at the moment, the two of them, they could be in for a nice points haul.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, Carl, earlier, I know Carl is leading the points outside of the playoff guys, outside the guys that have had a win. I think it was only by 4 points, but it's definitely going to stretch out tonight, because the man sitting in third place in the championship, or second, is down in 8th place, 0-9 of Norman Clark.
A quiet night for Norman Clark tonight. He's sitting inside the top 10. Has managed to sort of not really done much in the race. He started 8th. He's sitting 8th at the moment. So it's been just one of those races where it feels like nothing has happened for him, but I'm sure plenty of action has happened out on the track. Just not many places for position at the moment. As we continue on here at Richmond for round number 7 of the Lucas Oil's 2024 Aussie Outlaws Aussie Outlaws NASCAR Cup Championship.
Bit of a tough 3 weeks coming back from the break, Carl. This week, as we are racing tonight at Richmond, next week we're off to Martinsville for another 400 lapper. And then out to something completely different on the 27th of April, our Anzac around 500 miles at that Super Speedway, Talladega. So some tough races still to come in the next few weeks. So definitely some good action.
Absolutely, and we'll have to find some people willing to work for Talladega and let us have a drive, Mark. That would be nice.
Look, I do know that the pilot of the 53, Ed Foster, is going to join us in the commentary booth for that. And I have actually reached out to Hamish Gallagher to see if he can get his trackside for that night too. So it'll be a nice little Anzac thing with an Australian and an Englishman and a Kiwi in the booth. So let's hope that can come off this year.
Absolutely. Will be fun indeed as we continue on in the race. And it is sitting well at the moment, and again, Steve Dub, one of the faster cars on track at the moment. It's in the 22.5s. That thing is absolutely planted tonight, and Steve Dub is driving it beautifully. It's one of those moments where the car and the driver are both just in harmony with each other, and it is a delight to watch. Neil are doing a good job keeping the gap just down to about 1.9 seconds and keeping within spitting distance. So it is not a sure thing for Stevie Dub yet. He has to keep driving perfectly. And well, we've seen a lot of drivers make little mistakes here, and it is so easy to make one of those little small mistakes and find yourself losing the tail of the car and finding yourself falling down the order quickly. So it could easily happen. So we will hope that it doesn't, but we will keep an eye on it. But yeah, it is coming along, and well, we're slowly but surely getting towards the point where they can almost make it home in about 15 laps time. They can make it home on a tank of fuel, from what we believe. So will we see some people trying an early stop, trying to get a bit of an undercut? What is the plan going to be? We will find out soon as this race ticks on.
And we're just ticked over 2 hours of racing tonight, Carl. So hats off and to these drivers that have been able to stick it out, and it's a long old race, and they've, as I said, they've got to back up next week for Martinsville with another 400 lapper. So some tough races for the guys sitting in their cockpits turning left.
Absolutely, they don't get the luxury of quickly taking a break to ride on board with somebody as we go and refill our water bottles, and get to stretch our legs a little bit. It is a tough one, and as I said, it's a bit of an endurance test as well. These long races, they do take it out of you, and you get little bits of cramping happening. You're not utterly comfortable sitting in a race rig. And it can just get a little bit tiresome if you're going along. And now is the time where we're going to start seeing that fatigue setting in on drivers, and we could well see a few little of extra mistakes happening throughout the field. We've got 13 cars running, with 4 who have taken it behind the wall: Tom Williams, Wayne Van Billion, Derek Jacobs, and Noddy Tompkins. Tristan Koch is in the lane, getting some major repairs done after having a little bit of a moment, possibly, or just struggling a little bit. He's got some heavy damage on the right front of that car. So Tristan Koch just in getting some major repairs done at the moment. But 13 cars still on track at the moment, and the leader is Stevie Williams.
I know I was talking to this man, Chris Purnell, through the week, and he's come back and he said, I don't know how I'm going to go with such long races. But he's up there in 5th place, only a lap down, and a second and a half behind Foster. So it's a good return to the ovals. He did have a little bit of a test run there on Thursday night with Ann's car over on their truck series, so it's definitely good to see him back out there and running around.
Absolutely, and look, just to be a couple of tenths off or a second off Foster is not a bad place to be on your return. It's not a bad place to be on any night, as he is one of the quick drivers out there, so having a good run at the moment. Noticing Brett Campbell is pulling it into the lane, so Brett Campbell coming in for a stop, about 74 laps into this stint, so he has decided it's time for some fresh tyres, and he's probably going to need one more stop here tonight, so he's going to be trying something a little bit different, going to be off sequence with people, and that could pay out if we get another caution later in the race, so we'll see how that one goes for the 015 Quantum Esports of Brett Campbell.
Mark Smith has now been able to work his way back up into the top 10, so that's a nice recovery. Unfortunately, though, he's still 4 laps down off Stevie Williams. And he's about to go, I'd say, 5 laps down, because we could see in the background there Stevie Williams closing in on the back of the 07 Chevrolet.
Yeah, but he's having a sort of run. That knock to the rear just looked like it really just took a little bit of confidence out of Mark Smith, unfortunately, but still coming along well. So, as the laps tick down, we have got 3 cars on the lead lap. It's Steve Williams, Carl Niebler and Luke Yeager. 10-second gap between those 3 cars. Edward Foster sits down in 4th position. Currently the lucky dog recipient should be. He is sitting in 4th position. 5th position we have Chris Purnell sitting there after having a little bit of a moment coming into the pit lane, just getting caught out with the apron, but has managed to keep that car relatively clean and out of damage troubles. Matty Ray sits behind him, up 10 positions in the SRM car. The 83 having a good run out here tonight. Sitting in 7th position where he started is Jamie Lancurvis for Valve, and he has his teammate Norman Clark behind him in 8th position, again where he started the race. It's been one of those nights where they've not really made any headway forwards, not really made any headway backwards. It's just been a race where they've been sitting in their slots. Scott Lefevre sits back in 9th position, completing a little bit of a Valve run of cars, the 3 cars running together at the moment. And then, as we said before, Mark Smith sitting in 10th position for the Lucas Oils team. He is the first car inside the top 10, and he is racing with Brett Campbell at the moment, both of them 5 laps down. But Brett Campbell is on some very fresh tyres and will be closing in on that gap. Jared Williams having a decent run in 12th position. We saw him having a couple of little moments, but keeping the car up together now and gaining crucial experience on the track. Justin Allen sits in 13th spot. Again, saw him having a little moment earlier on, but again, getting some confidence back into that car and feeling like he is getting up to speed once again. And Tristan Koch rounds out the running cars at the moment, manages to get the car back out on track in 14th position, 27 laps off the lead, but hoping that he might be able to pick up the pieces if anybody else has a bit of a tumble.
So slowly winding the laps down, coming up to 100 laps remaining. Will we see another caution out here tonight, Carl? That's the big question. I know Foster and Purnell would like to see a caution, or especially Foster. He may be able to bring that car back here and get a podium spot with some fresh rubber on there.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be thinking about what they can do now to the end of the race. There's a lot of different strategies you can pull out. But I think most drivers are going to sort of keep it to that 85 lap run on the stint. Just split it in half and go from there. But we might see a few just holding out, especially those cars that are just 1 lap down. I just get the feeling they'll stick out a little bit longer, just in case we do get a late caution, just to get themselves back into the race. But Stevie Dub, he will be just sailing along at the moment and just starting to think about his strategy a little bit, just working out what he needs to do, working out if he needs any changes in the car. At the moment, it doesn't look like he probably will want any. That thing is looking so sublime out there. But he'll want 4 fresh sets of tyres and a bit of fuel, and that will get him home to the end of the race. And well, it's been a decent run, and pretty much led almost the majority of this race now, Mark.
Yeah, definitely a great run from the front. So I don't think there's been too many times where he hasn't been out in the front of the race. So good to see him out there and running really strong tonight.
So 110 laps remaining here tonight, and we will see who can get it done here at Richmond. And well, it's probably a bit of a good idea of how things will be looking at Martinsville as well, Mark. I mean, not identical tracks, but similar skill sets tend to transfer over between the two. And you got to say, it's looking like Martinsville will be strong again for DPR.
Yeah, definitely will be. And just I know the other guys have got other things on, and if we get Pearson and Dyson out there, it's definitely going to be a hard one for the other drivers to get around them, because we know how strong they are by just one driver out there, and it's triple the strength here if they get all the three of cars, or even if Ryan Jones can get out there and race too. It's definitely a tough team to beat.
It is indeed, but I'm sure there are going to be plenty who are going to be trying, and you cannot discount anybody on the track. You can get some very quick drivers out on their night, and it can catch everybody by surprise. And then, as you said, of course, we're going to be heading off back to Talladega for the Anzac round, and well, that's always a little bit of a different sort of style of races. As most drivers will say, it's a bit of a lottery being a super speedway, but it always adds for some good results. And well, the cream always rises, you got to say, in racing. And you know, usually the fast guys are never too far from the top of the pack in a super speedway race.
Definitely not. We'll probably come to go on air a fraction early for that night with the pre-race festivities and different things. So I know the rest of the admin are working hard and trying to get that finalised. We're just waiting on a lot of the guys to let us know whether they're doing a special livery for them, so we can work out the parade cars for when we have the national anthems and different things. So that's one race I always look forward to every year, even if I'm not racing in it, Carl.
No, absolutely. And look, it's a event that is, I know, that is very close to your heart as well, and mine too. And look, hopefully we will get some. Oh, the caution flag is out. We've got a caution flag as one of the Valve cars has gone around, and I've got very close there as well. It's Chris Purnell's had a moment. What has happened to Chris Purnell? As we said, it's easy to get caught out here, especially in these late stages. Purnell's just entered the corner a bit high, got on the marbles a little bit, and that car has just sailed around.
You see there, it gets very taily, and just all by him, he's lonesome.
Yeah, I wonder if he's chucked a little bit too much rear bias into it, because it looks like he's just into the braking a little bit, and the back end has stepped out on him. So I wonder if he's just chucked a little bit too much rear into there, and it's just sent him around.
So Stevie Williams, back with live pictures, is in pit lane. Carl Needler in pit lane. Luke Jager in pit lane. Foster needs to stay out so we can get the lucky dog, which he's getting right now. So Foster now back on the lead lap.
And this should also see, if they don't come into the lane, Matty Ray, Jamie Nankervis and Chris Purnell back on the lead lap too. So we could see a whole lot of cars back on the lead lap. And look, if I'm out there, I'm going to stay out if I'm a lap down, just to get that lap back, get myself on the lead lap. I know I'm not going to be quick, I know I'm not going to have the pace, but could be in a position where we could find ourselves getting back up towards the front. As Foster brings it into the lane now.
Oh, he may. I really hope he just didn't enter a closed pit lane there.
It should be okay because he's the lucky dog. It would be that extra lap, I think. So it might have been close to the leaders, but the rest of the field might be open. And I think the penalty would just be end of line, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, so not going to affect him too much with that one if he did enter it. So he'd still be on the lead lap and on some fresh boots, but might just have to go through a lot of lapped cars to get himself back up to the front. So we will see how that all shakes out, and we will see where everybody ends up as well. Just looking, looks like everybody's come into the lane. Those guys decided to come into the lane rather than stick it out and get the wave around. Other than Norman Clark. So Norman Clark's going to get the wave around here. So he'll get himself back. Possibly back a lap, but we will see how that unfolds. So it's going to be a 96 or so lap sprint to the end now, Mark. Nobody's going to really need fresh tyres. Nobody's going to need fuel. They can all make it to the end, but if we get some late cautions, some people might gamble with some fresh boots to get them to the end and could find themselves in a good position.
Yeah, well, if they've, excuse me, I know some of them haven't taken tyres every pit stop, so they should, all these guys should probably have at least one set of tyres still up their sleeve. So is anyone going to be brave enough to jump in and throw a set of another set of tyres on?
We'll find out as we get into the restart zone, and Stevie Dub again gets an absolutely beautiful start. Carl Needler just getting caught out again on the restart, and he's just been caught out there. Meanwhile, Foster back on the lead lap as well. So we've got 4 cars on the lead lap. Luke Yeager just gets a little bit squirrely on the exit, but keeps it going in the right direction as we get back to green flag racing here at Richmond.
Foster down the inside and picks off of that car.
Making his way past Jemina Curvis, I think that was. Next up on his list is Maddie Ray, who is a lap down at the moment. And the only car that is one single lap down. So Maddie Ray in that lucky dog position. He's going to be hoping to see a caution flag before the end of this race and hopefully get himself back on the lead lap, back into this race as we come down. Watch out for Carl Needler here, because he has got some really good pace at the moment. We've seen it. That short run pace is fantastic. He is closing in on Stevie Dub at the moment and trying to put him under pressure. And look, if he can get himself ahead of Stevie Dub and just keep Stevie Dub behind him, he might be in a good position here. But that is probably going to be easier said than done. Stevie Dub just taking a beautiful line through the corner, just blocking off any opportunity for Needler to make the move on him, and just stopping him from getting the opportunity to try a late braking move down the inside. So it is really nice driving here. Meanwhile, Foster right behind Maddie Ray at the moment, trying to get himself up into a podium position too.
He's actually got himself past Luke Jager. Luke Jager, I just seen in the background while we were watching Stevie Dub and Carl touch the wall. So that's given Foster the gap through. So now Foster's now back up into third place, Carl.
So the battle is now on. Can he work his way up the field a little bit further? It might be easier said than done, because we've seen that Needler has got some really good pace here tonight. Definitely been one of the fast cars. That's probably the second fastest car in race trim tonight, close with Foster. I mean, it's probably too close to call between Foster and Needler. Those two absolutely having some great pace here tonight, and that was shown with their positions on the track, of course. Needler taking pole ahead of Foster. Stevie Dub not quite got the short run pace that he wants. It's not the fastest car over a single lap in the early stages of the run. But as soon as he gets to about 3 or 4 laps in, as soon as those tyres are nicely up to temperature, that thing is flying. And once again, is very fast on track. Stevie Dub moving his way forwards at a vast rate of knots. With 87 laps to go, we are going to be in the final battle here, unless we get a caution, which we'll see people gambling with some tyre choices. We could well be seeing the finishing order here, but can Foster work his way up into second position? Can Luke Yeager move himself up back onto the podium? A lot still to play for here. Matty Ray sitting quite comfortably in 5th position. He's a lap off 4th place, and he's a lap ahead of 6th place. Jamie Nankervis, meanwhile, he's got a lot of cars to battle with Chris Purnell and Norman Clark all on the same lap. Brett Campbell sitting nicely in 9th position, just 4 laps down. He's ahead of Scott Lefebvre, who is 5 laps down, battling it out with Mark Smith.
Mark Smith's just dropped outside of that top 10 again, so that car that has really hurt when we seen earlier on in the race, but get into that outside wall and do some damage to that right rear. But it's closing up again up the front. The gap's come down to just under half a second again now. So these two are really having a battle. I don't know if Stevie Dub's just playing with him a little bit. I've not known him to do anything like that. So Cole, he can definitely find some pace in that car.
Yeah, he's doing nicely here and building up that pace. And look, that car has definitely got some really good pace in it. He's able to get it working, and when it's in its operational temperatures, when it's in the right window, it is definitely one of the fastest cars on track at the moment. But catching is one thing, passing is another. Stevie Dub just needs to position the car right, and Needler can't really get past. And I wonder if Williams is just taking it a little bit easier in this stint. He's not quite pushing as hard. He's just letting those tyres come in at a nice even keel, and he's just going to sort of sit comfortably, not pushing too hard, not trying to build up a huge gap, but just protecting himself if a caution flag does fall, just to give him the opportunity to keep those tyres in a decent range or come down to the lane. He's sort of just playing the long game at the moment, and with 80 laps remaining, he can afford to do that because I think he's got pace to burn if he needs it.
You see two very different lines there as Williams comes right down onto that yellow pole line, and Carl Needler staying up high. But in saying that too, if we look in the background, Matty Ray is closing in on both of these guys now. So Matty Ray may drive his way back around to the lead, and we know how strong he is in the closing stages of the race. But he definitely needs to probably get another caution to really give him any type of chance.
Yeah, caution now would probably be exactly what Matty Ray wants to see, and he will take advantage of that, I'm sure. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in that respect. And you know, he's still got a couple of tyres up his sleeve as well. So there's a few different drivers out there with some tyre advantages if they need to use it. So we'll see who can make it work and who can get it sitting in a good position. Meanwhile, Stevie Dub starting to stretch his legs a little bit now, down in the 22.1s. He is starting to build up about a 0.6 second of a gap here, and this is where this car seems to really be the strongest, is at this stage of the stint. he's able to just get that little bit more speed in it. He's able to just get that little bit better pace and that better stability as well. Every time I see Stevie Dub on track, that car is as stable as anything. It looks like it's running on lithium. It's that stable. And he just seems to be able to put it wherever he wants to put it as well. That's one of the things I've noticed with this car tonight. It's just able to sit any part of the track and just work as well as it would in any other part of the track. It just really is driving beautifully out there.
Yeah, he's really had no troubles. We haven't seen the car get loose or anything tonight. It's really been on rails. So the DPR boys have really done some homework for this race tonight.
You kind of hear with his throttle control as well. He's just so gentle on the throttle. It's just such a nice entry, such a nice exit of the corner. It's not just the setup that is working perfectly tonight. It's Stevie Dub as well. He's just absolutely driving that thing perfectly, and it is suiting his driving style down to a T. Every time he just wants to get the power on, it's just beautifully there. He's just gently rolling the throttle on. He's not stabbing at it or anything like that. He's just easing it on, easing it off, just gently tickling the brakes all the time. It's just making that car work even better. And you know, both of them are complementing each other. The setup is complementing Stevie Dub, and Stevie Dub is definitely complementing that setup as well.
You know, you can just see here we've been on board with him, how easy that throttle comes on, and then he just lifts and rolls out of it, back down to 6,000 RPM. It just touches the red line at 9,000 there, and then as soon as he does that, he's off the gas. And we can see here, he's been able to keep this car in 5th gear. He's not changing down gears like some of the other guys are.
And that's going to really help the rear tyres stay in a decent range, not spinning them up at all, not having to worry about chirping them or anything like that by downshifting, not worrying about putting the throttle down a bit too hard and getting a little bit of wheel spin in a slightly lower gear. It's just working so very well for him at the moment, and as I said, he's just able to get it working perfectly with him. You know, this is the point where he might just get that little bit of struggle because he's just hitting the red line, but that thing is absolutely keyed out to the perfect amount of speed that is needed. So it is just working so very well at the moment. And as I said, Stevie Dub just absolutely gentle as you like on the throttle, on the steering as well. You know, he's barely putting any inputs in there at all. He's just getting that turn in on entry and then straightening it up before he puts the throttle down, and that's helping keep the tyres alive. You know, those little bits of driving style that really help to keep the tyres in an operating temperature and an operating range, and he is just doing everything in the book to make this work.
Just jump on the right front suspension, gets out really close to that wall.
Yeah, he's not worried about it. He's able to run nice and close to the wall. He's not got any fear of being close to the wall as well, and that's helping with that speed. That's definitely a thing that he's able to use a little bit more of the track, and it's something I really struggle at, is taking advantage of the whole track. I don't like running too close to the wall because I just have that instinct in me of just not being too close to the wall, and that costs you a huge amount of time on a track like Richmond. You know, if you can run as close as you can to the wall, you are really going to gain a huge amount of time, especially on the entry and exit of the corner. Now, if you can go nice and wide onto the entry, just sail the car in, you're going to be sitting in a really nice position going through the corner. And then when you can wind it out of the corner, you're not turning the wheel too tight. You're not going to have to really put much pressure through the tyres. You just ride nicely to the wall on the exit. It really reduces the stress on the car, and it just adds so much speed.
It definitely is. Just the way he's able to flow that car through tonight, and on these shorter tracks, that's really what you need to do. You know, as you said earlier, Carl, we're going to Martinsville next week. Very similar, but very different types of tracks too.
Yeah, the paperclip is going to be it's a very different track to Richmond, but some of the skill set does carry over. You know, you need to be good on the brakes, you need to be good on the corner exits, you need to be smooth. All these things help at Martinsville, and they really can help you gain a lot of time on a track like that. And as I said, I think it would be worth, if you're planning on putting any bets on, the 98 is probably a relatively safe car to put a couple of pennies on, just for that sake, because it is absolutely looking as stable here at Richmond, and I'm sure that car will be good at Martinsville as well. But as we said, Carl Needler is still keeping good pace. He's only about 2.4 seconds off. Really, again, driving so well. And tonight, Needler has driven extremely well. He's not made any real mistakes. He's given the wall a little kiss a couple of times, but no major damage, and that is crucial. And that is a thing that he just struggled a little bit before. He just had a couple of little moments, and he had the pace, but just not the... Just struggled a little bit over the full race distance, just made a couple of little mistakes. Tonight, he has not made any, and he's driving absolutely perfectly. Unfortunately, the man in front is just that little bit more perfect tonight, but he is really doing a solid job. He's got a nice gap over Foster. It's about 3 seconds over Edward Foster, and if you can do that, you are doing very well indeed.
And look, also just touch on Luke Jager. He got stuck in on that outside line for the restart, and I did see in the background on the restart that he has touched that wall, and you can see that again by the damage to the nose of that car. So his night's gone from good to a little bit worse, but nevertheless, great driving from him up into the top 5. Matty Ray, if he get a if we get another caution, don't be surprised if himself and Ed Foster have a great ding-dong battle for that final step on the podium, because he has been able to drive away from Foster a little bit. So it's good to see Matty Ray up there having a great run. Looks like Brett Campbell's just kissed the ball again there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of contact with Mark Smith as well, but they're sort of keeping on at the moment. Brett's keeping there in 10th position, so he's inside the top 10 still, which is going to be a good finish. And yeah, just a little bit of contact between himself and Mark Smith. That's what sort of sent Brett just into the wall there, but it doesn't look like he's taken too much damage in that car. Well, 50 laps remaining here tonight at Richmond, and we are heading towards the end of this long old race, and I'm sure the drivers will be looking forward to stepping out of their rigs, taking a little bit of a stretch, maybe going for a quick comfort break as well.
Yeah, definitely. We may have to extend the post-race interviews just a little bit, because I reckon that's where a lot of these guys will be running for after this race, as we're coming up now to well, we've just clicked over 2.5 hours of racing.
Yeah, unfortunately, unlike real race cars, you sort of can't relieve yourself in the sim rig. It's probably a little bit more frowned upon. So we are coming along nicely, and we will soon be finding out who gets the laurels tonight. We have lost, unfortunately, Scott Lefebvre from the race. It looks like a connectivity issue has dropped him out of tonight's action. And Brett Campbell pulls it into the lane for his final pit stop of the night. Said we'd probably be seeing him in about 70 laps' time. And those 70 laps have gone past. He's coming in for his final stop of the night. Fresh set of boots, a little bit of fuel, and he will be getting to the end of the race. Should be pretty secure in 10th position. He's got a couple of laps over Jared Williams, but that could be a bit of a race if Jared Williams manages to catch up to him. But I'm sure Brett will have the tyre advantage as well. Foster there, still sitting in third position, just coming along nicely. He's got, I think that's Chris Purnell just behind him. Jamie Nankervis just behind him. Jamie's showing some good pace. He's had some really good pace in that car tonight, just unfortunately getting caught out with those cautions, I think, and dropping him a couple of laps off the lead, because he's definitely had the pace tonight for a podium position.
You're definitely right, Carl. The other thing too is this is Jamie's only. Sorry, getting all tongue-tied here. This is Jamie's third year in running ovals, so I mean to say he's come a long way. He's constantly now up into the top 10, and we've even seen him have very close battles for race wins. Just getting mixed up in some other people's issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Always running up towards the front of the field and nipping at the heels of those victories, and be it just missing out because somebody makes a little mistake on the exit of the corner and just can't quite push them hard enough at Atlanta. Sorry again for that, Jamie. He is always up there, and it's definitely one of those things that will very much come quickly. And he is always knocking on the door for podiums, and those victories will surely come soon as well.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think with the league moving to open setup, it's really helped Jamie come along because he is a ex go-kart racer, and you know how fiddly those things can be at times. With the boys are around him like Purnell and co. That team is really coming along with the setups for the oval.
Yeah, having that extra support of teammates behind you can make a big difference, and it really does help in open setup races. Just having a few extra minds there to help you with that setup too, because what you think is good, another driver may just go, oh no, that's actually really not that good. We could do it this way. And between you end up finding the perfect setup. It really is a huge advantage having a couple of friends just to tinker with and share with and do some practice with, because you gain so much knowledge. It can really help you out in the latter stages. So 38 laps remaining here tonight, and well, gotta say, if there's not a caution, we're looking pretty settled for our top three. But as we say, anything can happen, and it usually does in motorsport. But the night has fully set in. Darkness is over the circuit. The floodlights are doing their job to show up these beautiful paint jobs on these cars. And, we're ticking down to find out who's going to take the victory for this round number 7.
Yeah, you've got to say that with 35 laps to go, the top three is pretty well set, unless we do get a caution, and then it opens it all up because Matty Ray is still in that lucky dog position, so he'll join us back on the lead lap. In saying that, Foster's now been able to get past him.
Okay, just struggling at this stage of the stint, and it's just dropped him down a little bit pace-wise. So just showing that that SRM car's got some really good early run pace, but just lacking a little bit as it comes a little bit later on compared to Foster, who's definitely got the long run pace in that car. That thing is good in the latter stages of the stint, just struggles to switch on a little bit. So again, the fun thing about open setups is you see lots of different styles of car out there as well, lots of different setups, and well, a lot of people in different positions because of how it's running. Good little battle on track. None of it for position, though, between these three cars, as they're all on very different laps, but giving each other some good runs out there as well, and just keeping each other in position. So nice to see that going on through all of these cars.
Oh, they're having a nice little quiet run with Clark behind him. So now 6.1 seconds out to the leader, and Stevie Williams, and really having a quiet night. A bit of a battle at the start of the stints, but as you have said, Carl, he's really got that long run pace in that car, and been able to drive away from everyone else.
Yeah, well, he is indeed, and I'm just quickly double checking my facts there, but I'm pretty sure I'm right now. If Stevie Dub can take tonight's race, it will be our 7th different winner in 7 races as well, Mark.
Yes, you're 100% correct, Carl. You know, people who have said a few things like that it's going to be a one-horse race, but it definitely hasn't been that way this season. You know, it's been some great racing, even though some of these races are DPR really dominated. We've also seen other teams really dominate races too.
Yeah, Valve Esports have got Norman Clark and, of course, Scott Lefevre with victories this year under their belts as well. And SRM with Matty Ray taking the win at the Daytona 500. You know, it's been good to see lots of different faces and names up on that top step this season, taking those victories. As Luke Yeager just drops down a lap. So we have 3 cars back on the lead lap now, as Luke Yeager is just dropped down, and that's not what Matty Ray wants to hear, I'm sure, because if we get a caution now, he is not in that coveted lucky dog position anymore. So Matty Ray will be hoping we don't see a caution too soon, unless he manages to get past Luke Yeager. But there is a fair gap between those 2 cars. So it's going to be a bit tricky to close that gap down, I think, and get himself back into that lucky dog position.
And then Curvis has been able to jump in front of Foster. As you said, though, Carl, this is not for position; it's just for track position.
But just showing that Valve car has definitely got some pace in it once again, and well, we saw with Matty Ray, it just shows that SRM team, the Valve team, they've all had pace. They just fell a little bit unlucky tonight, and they could all have been up there battling for this final step of the podium. We're seeing Brett Campbell and Tristan Koch just unlapping themselves, as well as
he's
a little bit of contact. A big save from Edward Foster there. That was a huge save from Foster. That could have been a disaster, but he just managed to save that one as Brett Campbell was just trying to get himself back past him. Just got contact on the entry of the corner, and they've just settled that one down a little bit. Good to see that save happening, because that would have been a big crash. Just when you think all the craziness has stopped, Mark, you look away for a second, you start to take a breath, and it all begins once more.
Yeah, definitely right. Let's hope that hasn't done too much damage to those rear wheels, rear tyres of Foster, because we're deep into the session now. We're up to 80 laps on this set of tyres for those top 7 guys now. So it'll be interesting to see what damage it has done to those tyres.
Yeah, hopefully not too much, and doesn't look like it's affected too much. Foster still an okay pace, although he's dropped down to about the 23s now, but still setting a fairly consistent pace. So it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too squirrely at the back either. Doesn't look like the rears are constantly lighting up. So I think got away relatively unscathed with that one, but that was many years of oval racing experience to save that car in that slide on those old tyres as well. A fantastic job done. Just looking throughout the field. And you can see the pace advantage of Brett Campbell just on those fresher tyres. He's just able to sail by, and I think that's what caught Foster off guard a little bit. He wasn't expecting the car to sort of sail up the inside like that and just fly on past, because had such a big pace advantage on those slightly fresher tyres. Those much fresher tyres, Brett Campbell, with that stint that he's doing. So a few different plays going on here, but not too much at stake, as a lot of cars are on different laps at the moment, unfortunately. Stevie Double closing in quickly though on Foster to pop him down a lap again. So just shows the pace of that 98 car has tonight. It is really going well.
Yeah, look, I know we haven't spoken much about him. He's been very quiet, but Justin Allen there in the excuse me, number 6 car, one of Wayne Van Buren's teammates. Very, very good drive. He's stayed out of trouble all night, although he has been into the wall a few times. But just been circulating, getting some experience under his belt, and picking up some good points. Up to 12th place now in this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and look, crucial experience as well. That's one of the big things that you don't really get by doing practice sessions. If you're practicing on your own on a track, you're not really going to gain that much information after doing probably about one stint. You know, even one stint is fairly sort of, that's it really. You get more experience, you get more knowledge by racing on oval circuits. You know, the ovals, they change their nature, and when you've got other cars on track as well, when you're being lapped, when you're lapping, when you're racing, all these things change how it works and how you run the track. So, you know, you don't need as much practice time on the track on an open track. You need to get some time on a track which is busy, and that really helps you improve your skills. And tonight, that's really going to help Justin, I'm sure. just get that little bit more knowledge under his belt and just help him in the future. Just help him with confidence as well. So 9 laps to go. We do not have long until we are going to be seeing the end of tonight's race. And it is Stevie Dub up in the lead at the moment and carrying on at a decent pace. Just looking through the top 10, Jamie Nankervis has managed to get past Chris Purnell and move himself up into 6th position. Chris Purnell dropping down to 7th. Norman Clark still pretty happy in his 8th position where he started. But those sort of 3 cars have really been sort of up and down the field tonight in lots of different positions. So a good race from all of them. Matty Ray just ahead has just gone down a 2nd lap from Stevie Dub, who is absolutely flying at the moment, but just gets a little bit wide on the exit. And that's, I think, the first time I've seen a mistake from Stevie Dub all night long. Just ran a little bit off the track and just struggled on the exit, just giving Matty Ray the opportunity to try and unlap himself there. But out of 394 laps, that is the first little mistake I've seen from Stevie Dub tonight. So not far left in this race for this man, Stevie Williams, the Mean Green Machine, looking to bring it home for tonight and become our 7th different winner in 7 races here for the Aussie Outlaws series on Checkered Flag e-streaming. A big thank you to all the series sponsors, of course, and for all of you for joining us here tonight as well. We wouldn't be able to bring you a broadcast if we didn't have any viewers, so we really appreciate everybody for watching along with us, and of course anybody for watching in the future as well.
We can see here how well that car of Stevie Williams is really going. He's now coming up to put a lap on Foster in 3rd place. So that thing has really been dialed in tonight, and some great driving from Stevie Williams.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic drive tonight for Stevie Dub, and look, redemption from Bristol for sure. He's going to be delighted with this one. White flag will be coming out, and the final lap now for Stevie Dub. Foster, absolutely not wanting to drop that lap down, is going to defend as much as he can, but can he hold off Stevie Dub from putting the lap down? We'll soon find out. This is pretty much the race now, isn't it? As he comes around the final corner, Foster is just going to be sitting there, and he manages to keep himself ahead, but it's Stevie Williams who takes the victory here tonight at Richmond. A fantastic victory for Stephen Williams here tonight. Great drive, absolute perfection for the Mean Green Machine himself.
Stevie Dub comes back to the start-finish line and will burn it down.
Some well-deserved burnouts for Stevie Williams here tonight. Absolutely deserves this celebration for sure. So let's run through the results for tonight's races. Stevie Williams for DPR taking victory tonight, up ahead of Carl Needler. Our pole sitter having a fantastic race, getting himself a very strong second place finish here tonight. Edward Foster brings it home on the podium for third. Fourth place, we have Luke Yeager, a strong drive inside the top 5 tonight. Matty Ray finishes in 5th position. Biggest mover and shaker of the night, up 11 places. Jamie Nankervis comes home in 6th position. We have Chris Pennell in 7th, Norman Clark in 8th. Mark Smith brings it home inside the top 10 in 9th position. Brett Campbell comes home in 10th spot. As we roll over the page, it's Jared Williams in 11th position. Justin Allen in 12th. Tristan Koch comes home in 13th position. Scotty Lefevre out in 14th position. Tom Williams 15th. 16th for Wayne Van Billion. Derek Jacobs 17th. And Noddy Tompkins in 18th position.
So, not a bad race. Only 6 cautions tonight for 30 laps. Total of 400 laps ran. 3 lead changes and 3 leaders. And, of course, the fastest lap to Stevie Williams with a 21.801 on lap 140. So, well done to Stevie Williams.
Absolutely. Well, what we might do, as I see down below us, we have our podium sitters already in the green room. We might quickly jump to them as they look like they want to get the interviews done first. So let us start with our 3rd place finisher for Natari, Edward Foster. Edward Foster, welcome back to the booth, mate. Second time up here tonight, but a great finish for you up in P3 here at Richmond.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit nicer if I could have put a little bit of pressure on those front guys there, because it was a bit of a fight most of the night, and I think I went the wrong way with a couple of the adjustments as well. It actually made the car a little worse, so I made it a bit better to start with, and then I don't know if the track just kind of went away from me or what, but yeah, the car actually was pretty average by the end, and I was letting a lot of people go, so nothing to fight the top 2 with, unfortunately.
A shame to hear that. Obviously, the big sort of moment came with the strategy call by sticking it out in the mid part of the race. It sort of didn't quite go your way. I imagine you were sort of hoping for a bit of a caution coming a bit sooner, maybe, in that stage.
Yeah, well, I mean, every time I was on fresher tyres than anybody else, they couldn't spin out fast enough. You know, they're constantly yellow, 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 yellow. The second I could use a yellow, right, everybody suddenly remembers how to drive. So, it was a bit of a pain to wind up sort of a lap down in that bit and have to rely on the lucky dog. And when the caution came out, I was so close to being out of fuel, I had to pit then. I couldn't do another lap and get back around to back of the field so I could pit and stay on the lead lap. I literally had to go then, and so I ended up dropping that lap again. So, that was a bit of a pain as well. There were just a whole bunch of other, little bits and pieces that were just sort of, not falling my way. But got back up there in the end, got back on the lead lap in the end, and just about held onto it. So, it's all you can ask for, really, I suppose, in that scenario.
Absolutely. You answered my question there to what happened when you dropped that lap, so that's all done. That little fight at the end with Steve Dubb, just keeping yourself on the lead lap. We saw you manage to hold that position nicely, but it was almost a bit of a scarier moment a few laps earlier as you just got a little bit of a touch going into the corner and you had to make a rather good save.
Yeah, I was actually thinking afterwards it would have been better if I'd spun around. Because we would have got a caution. So, you kind of natural instinct is to save it, of course. But I was thinking afterwards, damn, I should have spun.
To have those reflexes, Ed, you just cost yourself.
But I mean, the other thing is as well, you run the risk of being hit by someone. And, on the old tyres, these things are pretty hard to manoeuvre. So it wouldn't surprise me if somebody T-boned me. So it could have backfired horribly. It is what it is.
Now, look, a solid top 3, though, tonight. Podium finish. Are we going to be seeing you next time out at Martinsville?
Maybe. We'll see how I feel. See if I can get a set up for that as well. I've been trying to learn to build my own. So I think, probably what I'm most happy about is the fact that I was able to come home sort of top 3 in a car that I did. because normally everything I do is awful, but I've been putting a bit of work into sort of learning it, and I much prefer that to, this pay to win stuff where, just going out and feeding money into a setup shop or something like that. I don't really agree with that. So, just wanted to learn to do it myself, and I'm getting there. It wasn't perfect tonight. I probably went the wrong way a little bit, as I said, with a couple of those adjustments, but I'm learning.
A good finish with one of your setups, Ed. I mean, that's a miraculous finish.
Yeah.
No, well done tonight, mate. Before I let you go, the usual thing, love, shout out to people, sponsors, go for it.
So obviously just shouts out to everyone that came out tonight, yourselves, for the broadcast, long old race. And the sponsors, team sponsors, of course, Fully Floored, Turbo Alpha Japan, Growth Odyssey. My brain is fried after that, man. I think that's all. Let me go. I'm done.
That's it. Go for a comfort break, mate. You've earned it. Congratulations, Ed. Have a great night.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
Edward Foster there, coming home in P3. Next up, we have Mr. Carl Needler coming home in a very strong P2. Carl, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a fantastic second place finish here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, thank you. It was a bit of a surprise. I mean, the short tracks aren't really my favourite stuff, but setup seemed to be nice to drive tonight, and conditions are good, so everything sort of fell into place for me.
Oh, absolutely. You had some pace to spare at the start. I mean, taking pole position, not an easy feat. You definitely looked like you had some great short run pace. And then later in the race, that long run pace really came together as well.
Yeah, I was just saying to Steve before, just sort of have a bit of pace with him in the early stage there, and then I didn't really want to race him too hard and sort of make a silly move and cost both of us a good result. But the qualifying setup was good. It's quick, and it just felt nice to drive, so I could just get in and try and go as hard as I could, and manage to nab another pole position, which was quite nice. I think that's 3 for the season now, so pretty stoked with that. But yeah, I thought, especially with that long run with 100 laps to go, I thought, if I just take it a bit easier and maybe have some tyres left over at the end, I might be able to sort of sneak back to him, but Steve was just too good, so congrats to him.
But the car of Steve tonight was very, very stable. It was very nicely driven, but you absolutely kept him honest tonight, which is no easy feat. So a really good run from yourself, and look, a really good run as well, because we saw a couple of little kisses on the wall, but nothing major from you tonight.
Yeah, there was a couple of close moments there, I must say, even a couple of getting a bit heavy on the gas pedal and getting loose out of 2 there, but no, I'm just happy to bag some more points, especially after last week at Cody, big long race, and haven't had a win this season, but just, I think, accumulating as many points as I can to get myself into that playoff position, which is nice. So
Oh, absolutely. Well, look, keep driving like that, and I'm sure a win will come in the near future. But failing that, I think coming out of this, you're still going to be leading the championship for the drivers that haven't got a victory yet. So that is also some really good news, and just shows what a great season you've been having so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly before I go, I'd like to obviously thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and doing a fantastic job, and obviously Mark and all the admin for running the league. And obviously my teammates, and that being Wayne, Justin, and Luke sitting in with us this season in our chat. So appreciate those boys hanging around and all the support they give us. And yeah, just good. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carl. Well done again on P2 here tonight. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you back in the booth in the near future, mate.
Yeah, hopefully it's one better next time. But yeah.
Yeah, have a good night. Thank you.
Cheers.
Carl Needler there for VSK, coming home in second. And finally tonight, it is the Mean Green Machine. It is the 98. It's Mr. Stevie Dub. Stevie Williams, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on a fantastic redemption race and victory here at Richmond.
Yeah, cheers for that. That was good fun.
Well, we saw you had some epic pace at Bristol and things didn't go your way, but tonight it's a little bit of a nicer race for you, but that car looks absolutely stunning and you drove it to perfection.
Yeah, it was definitely on rails. Like it was really good to run and stuff like that. Like it just did what you wanted it to do. Like, and yeah, you still had to on a long run not overdrive it though. I nearly caught myself out there late in the race with Matty Rabe, and I was backing into turn one. Like I thought I'd nearly lost it.
Well, we did catch your one mistake in the race, so that's just to please you.
Yeah.
The cameras never fail to catch that moment. But other than that, it looked like it was just business out front. You definitely had the pace, especially a couple of laps into the stint. It looked like just on the cold tyres, maybe not the easiest, quickest car to drive, but as soon as you got a couple of laps in, the thing looked like it was absolutely plastered.
Yeah, no, it was definitely really good over a long run, and that's what I was dreading. And like a late caution, green and white checker or something like that, I was just like, thinking, oh, it's going to come down to that, and I'm just going to get beaten. Run like that all race, and then get hosed in a 2-lap dash.
Always a thing to dread, especially after you've been leading 388 laps. I think we got on screen. You really did have the car out front in a fantastic spot all night. But yeah, you had to work your way through the field as well at some points too. So it looked like the car was really good in the pack as well, and having to overtake too.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, you just time your run, and yeah, pretty much. Got to thank Neil for actually jumping on board with us, not tonight, early on today, and going through me driving and giving me a few tips and stuff like that. Really helps. Like having someone criticize your driving, like you know the mistakes you're making yourself, but when somebody else can pick them out as well and kind of help you to overcome those makes a big difference, I reckon.
Absolutely. Look, having teammates like Neil Pearson helping you out is definitely a thing I'm envious of. That is definitely something that is helpful. But you absolutely nailed it tonight, Stevie Dub. Well done indeed on this fantastic victory. 7th different winner in the series from 7 races tonight. But most importantly, you've got that win under your belt, so you are looking good to get into the playoffs now.
Yeah, cheers for that. That's good because I'm probably going to miss a couple of races like before the playoffs, so it's a relief to have that win to be in.
Absolutely, that little bit of safety net is always nice. Look, congratulations tonight, Steve. Before I let you go, the love, the shout out to sponsors, people, go for it, mate. You've absolutely earned it tonight.
Just thank you for the broadcast, and Mark and the rest, anyone else behind Aussie Outlaws, just for putting on the series. It's good fun. Just all the other competitors, and then simrigs.com, Southwood Lifts and Hoists, Bandmax Mechanical, NP Designs, and all the fellas at DPR Racing.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Stevie Dub. Well done again on that victory. Congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time.
Cheers. Thanks for that.
Stevie Dub there, taking the victory tonight for D.
Yeah, I just saying a great race here from Richmond tonight. Some great action right throughout the race. Unfortunately, we lost a few guys early, but we're as you can see up there on the screen now, we're off to Martinsville. So another tough little race next week before we get back out on the big wide open tracks.